Despite tremendous success in high school, he was not heavily recruited in Texas, and he said that tonight he hopes he can show all those college coaches just what they're missing out on.
Both of our starting quarterbacks tonight, Garrett Gilbert and Baker Mayfield, played at Lake Travis High School outside of Austin, where the offense is similar to the air raid, but what's the biggest difference?
Well, I think it'll help him as far as terminology, schemes out there, pattern recognition, but I think the biggest challenge for Baker Mayfield will be adjusting to defenses at this level. There'll be more disguises, more blitzes coming from different directions. That's what I'll be watching, because I know he's going to know where to go with the football. It's just reacting to the defenses and being able to make good decisions with the football under some duress.
Michael Brewer there in the hat was the guy who was supposed to be the starting quarterback for Texas Tech this year, but he was injured. So you actually have 4 former Lake Travis High School Cavaliers in this game. Just the quarterbacks. It was Gilbert, Colin Lagasse, who's now a wide receiver for SMU, and then the 2 for Texas Tech, Michael Brewer and Baker Mayfield, who gets the start tonight. And there is the last-minute instructions from Michael Brewer, the sophomore who was supposed to be Tech's starting quarterback this year, but because of a back injury that kept him out for almost all the fall camp, Baker Mayfield enters the picture, beats out Davis Webb, and starts as a true freshman on a warm and muggy night in Dallas, Texas.
Triple digits. It'll be something to watch for, too, with these teams, because both these teams like to throw it, and they like to throw it a lot. So we could have a shootout. We could see a lot of plays. The defensive guys, I want to watch the secondary. They're going to be running a lot. It could be a battle of endurance to see who's the last man standing. I mean, there's going to be guys, we saw it last night in the big game, the South Carolina, North Carolina games, guys with cramps. It's just, you've got to be ready to take on this biggest challenge. You've worked the entire offseason for this point. Now it's time just to go get it done.
You talked about throwing it around a little bit on both sides. I think June Jones would agree with you. We had a great chat with him and his new offensive coordinator, Hal Mummy, yesterday. Asked him, all right, step 1, why is passing better than running? June said, it's just more fun.
I could have sat down with these guys and talked for a week straight about the passing game. They have a wealth of information. I would love to be a little fly on the wall when they're in there scheming for games. Just coming up with different pass routes, different plays, figuring out weaknesses and defenses. And they, like you said, Carter, they are not afraid to throw it often.
Collaborators for decades, Hal Mummy and June Jones, and now for the first time they merge in 2013 with SMU. Texas Tech won the opening toss, and the Red Raiders will receive. Mike Loftus kicks off to begin the 2013 season for Texas Tech and SMU. So we will see the Red Raiders on offense, and Baker Mayfield, the true freshman walk-on quarterback. Now, he is a walk-on starting at quarterback, but this isn't exactly Texas Tech's Rudy. Had the terrific high school career that Allison told you about, including the state title. Recruited by a lot of schools, offered by Washington State, by Rice, among others, but decided to walk on at Texas Tech, and in one fall camp, beat out the more high-profile quarterback recruit, Davis Webb.
Texas Tech, they'll be at up-tempo. They'll try to push the limits as far as getting to the line of scrimmage, getting a lot of plays off.
3 wide receivers with 2 backs to start. First pass, first completion. It goes to Kenny Williams for Baker Mayfield.
That's what I would expect from Cliff Kingsbury. He's the head coach and the play caller to kind of get Baker Mayfield involved in the game. Give him some shorter, easier passes. Build his confidence up before you start taking shots.
Handoff. It's Kenny Williams who gets it on second down to bring up 3rd down and short for Cliff Kingsbury, the 34-year-old head coach of the Texas Tech Red Raiders after a record-setting career as a Texas Tech quarterback. Opening drive for the Red Raiders, 3rd down and 3. Complete for a Texas Tech first down. That's Jordan Davis. Mayfield moves the chains.
And here they go, pushing the limits here of the speed, the tempo, getting to the line of scrimmage. They got the big first down. Let's keep going right after it. But from what I've seen from Baker Mayfield so far, it looks very comfortable, directing traffic out there, you know, getting receivers to run the correct routes, just communicating with his offense.
4 wide receivers on 1st and 10 with Washington in the backfield. Empty it out for 1st and 10. Mayfield on the draw. A chance to look at our impact players. Brought to you by Longhorn Steakhouse.
For Texas Tech, Jay Samaro, you will not see him in the first half due to a suspension from being tossed out of his bowl game last season. But the second half, wait for him to make an immediate impact. Then when they do run the football, number 34, Kenny Williams is the guy.
Screen is incomplete, intended for DeAndre Washington.
Again, Carter, if you notice kind of a trend, just shorter passes, you know, high percentage completion rate here for Baker Mayfield. Give him some confidence throws. It'll help him find a rhythm before you take your shot down the field.
3rd and 6. Mayfield and the Red Raiders converted on their first 3rd down. Complete again into SMU territory. That's Eric Ward, the senior who had over 1,000 yards receiving a year ago.
SMU trying to shuttle in some defenders, get some fresh bodies out in the field. We talked about the heat, the impact it could have, trying to get a fresh pass rush.
Whistle before the snap.
There is no foul. SMU substituted and Texas Tech substituted and did not allow SMU a chance to match up. Replay first down.
So that's a big part of tempo. If the offense doesn't substitute, the defense doesn't have an opportunity to substitute. Mayfield again to scramble for about 5 more.
There was an element right there to Baker Mayfield's game, why I think he won the starting position over the other freshman, Davis Webb. The ability to make plays with his legs, get outside the pocket.
Play fake. Screen to the outside for Sidell Foster. Inside the 40, Red Raiders move the chains again.
Those quick-hitting little bubble passes, screen passes, they're really made not by the guy that catches the ball, but the other receivers who block for them. That time was number 18, Eric Ward. Great job picking up the defensive back, allowing that extra yardage after the catch.
Opening drive for Texas Tech from the SMU 37. Complete again. That's Jacob Hurla for a minimal gain.
I'm a little surprised that SMU defensively is not getting after the true freshman Baker Mayfield at quarterback. They're dialing up some blitzes, trying to confuse him. Basically, they've been rushing 3 guys, dropping 8 into coverage, and Baker Mayfield's having a field day so far.
5 for 6 passing for Mayfield. Here comes some pressure. Mayfield finds an open man in the middle. That's Ward. Wrestled down at the 20-yard line, but Eric Ward has Texas Tech to the SMU 20.
That's the element we talked about with Baker Mayfield, able to get outside of the pocket. Just a 3-man rush, but he senses the pressure inside, escapes outside. Makes a cardinal sin. You're not supposed to throw back across your body, but if you do that, it's all good.
Complete again to Ward. There is a flag on the play on first down.
Eric Ward. There's a penalty marker on the field.
Offense number 85. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Moves him outside the red zone officially. Well, Baker Mayfield, the walk-on true freshman quarterback for Texas Tech, has driven the Red Raiders now to the SMU 25. Now can Texas Tech get in the end zone on the opening drive? Pressure coming. Complete to Grant for just a couple to make it 2nd down and long.
2 areas where as a quarterback where you prove your worth. That's in the red zone and on 3rd down. Red zone, the windows are a little bit tighter. There's not as much space out in the field. You're dealing in tighter quarters. The defenders tend to be a little bit closer in coverage because they don't have to worry so much about getting deep by the deep ball. So they've got to be a lot more accurate with your passes.
11 plays, 8 passes for Texas Tech. Mayfield flings complete, dropped by Davis. Had it right around the 10. It would have been 1st and goal, Texas Tech.
Well, what a beautiful throw, too, by Baker Mayfield. Just lofted it right over a flat defender. And that ball right in the hands of Jordan Davis. Should have been caught.
Bringing up 3rd down and long. Empty backfield for the Red Raiders. Pressured and dropped back at the 27. So Mayfield gets Texas Tech inside the 25, but takes the sack, and now a field goal attempt coming.
SMU able to get some pressure with a 3-man rush, and number 3, Kevin Pope, just keeping he was spying on Baker Mayfield, watching for that run threat that we talked about that we've seen from him, and a nice job wrapping him up, preventing him from doing any more damage with his legs.
Ryan Buston, the junior from Kilgore, on for a 43-yard attempt. Buston's 43-yarder is good. So Texas Tech gets an opening drive field goal in 2013, but the Mustangs keep Baker Mayfield and the Red Raiders out of the end zone. The Mustangs turn next. Opening drive field goal for Texas Tech out of the Big 12 versus SMU from the American Athletic Conference. This is members of the old Big East. There is no more Big East football anymore, so some former members of Conference USA, former members of the Big East. This is what the map looks like. The important thing here is that they get the Big East's bid to the BCS this year and only this year. Last year of the BCS.
Huge. Carter, just don't quiz me on these teams any point later in the show, okay? Because I don't know if I've got them down yet. I'm still studying them.
Well, we know that UConn has some offensive struggles. They got beat by Towson last night. UCF won last night in the opening night.
Cedric Lancaster's return to the 18-yard line.
It's Cedric Lancaster who returns it there for SMU. So we see the SMU offense here for the American Athletic Conference. So these are 2 former Southwest Conference schools. SMU has bounced around conference-wise, but now the American Athletic Conference, which means if they win their league, going to BCS Bowl.
And trust me, that's something that they've heard about the minute they joined this American Athletic Conference, was that opportunity, the opportunity knowing that if you won your conference, you get to play in a BCS Bowl.
Garrett Gilbert, first pass, screen to the outside. Colin Lagasse on 1st down. Garrett Gilbert, this begins the final chapter in the saga that has been Garrett Gilbert's college career. From Lake Travis High School, National Player of the Year, signs with his dream school, Texas, plays in the national championship game, then struggles the next year, gets hurt, graduates early from Texas so we can play immediately at SMU. Now a 5th-year senior with the SMU Mustangs, Garrett Gilbert. Completes on 2nd and 5, near the 1st down. So really, Danny, the question is, Garrett Gilbert in a somewhat new offense yet again, what is it going to look like in 2013?
I expect a lot from Garrett Gilbert this year. Last year, kind of feeling his way into June Jones, run and shoot. Now he's got Hal Mummy's air raid principles mixed in with that. but this is a quarterback-friendly system where if you make good decisions, you should put up big numbers.
3rd and short. SMU converts. That's Treylon Shedd picking up the first down. Our impact players brought to you by Longhorn Steakhouse.
For Texas Tech, their biggest defensive pass rush comes from Kerry Hyder, the big defensive end. And then Jeremy Johnson, the wide receiver for SMU. He's a burner. He's had a great camp. Going into this season, they have high expectations for him, too.
Gilbert scrambles away from pressure. Dragged down at the 34. Flag goes in the air. Looks like a horse collar. Will Smith, the tackler.
And a horse kick. There's the back of the jersey right there. Will Smith grabs that, slings him down. You can always kind of tell it's a horse collar.
Foul. Horse collar. Defense number 7. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Even if you don't see the hand on the back of the jersey, just the way the player goes down, the way Garrett Gilbert kind of fell back on his, it's just an awkward looking tackle. It doesn't look like normal football. You can always kind of tell it's going to be a horse collar tackle that way. And
the key on the horse collar is that hand goes inside the shoulder pad. You can drag him down by the jersey, but horse collar if you go inside the shoulder pad. So 1st and 10 from right around midfield for SMU. Screen complete. Jeremy Johnson. Red Raiders ready for him. Sam McWavin leads away.
And one of the elements that Hal Mumme brought to this SMU offense was an up-tempo. An up-tempo pace where they're going no huddle, trying to push it a little bit more than they have in the past.
Pressure coming, end around on 2nd down. Across the 45 to near a first down for SMU on the end around. Jabryce Taylor.
A beautiful misdirection call there by Hal Mumme. Using the defense's aggression against them. If you can fool a team early while they're thinking, hey, I want to get a big shot on the running back, or I can get this tackle in the backfield, and then you flip it around and go the opposite way, you can pop one for a big gain.
On 3rd and short, Gilbert throws to a dragging Derek Thompson, who gets the first nice open field tackle from Trey Porter.
You talked about that open field tackle by Trey Porter. If he doesn't make that tackle, there was a lot of room to run.
There's some Hal Mumme influence on the run and shoot.
Absolutely. Some of the horizontal game, as they call it, just the crossing routes where you flip it out to a guy in man coverage, he breaks one tackle, he can go a long way.
And off on 1st down, Treylon Shedd, another Texas transfer, the junior from Cayuga, Texas, a 1A school between Taylor and Waco. He racked up incredible numbers in high school, transferred from Texas after he was beat out there by a couple of good backs for the Longhorns. Now in the same backfield with Garrett Gilbert. Shedd is going to exit on 2nd and short. And now here's a flag.
A little substitution. Offense, number 34, 12 men in formation. 2nd down.
You could hear Garrett Gilbert pleading his case, trying to say he didn't line up yet.
So from 2nd and short, it'll be 2nd down and 6. Complete. 1st down SMU. Darius Joseph makes the grab.
Seen a lot of similarities in both these teams' game plans. A lot more of the easier passes because neither of these teams run the football too much, but they use the short passing game to supplement for a running game. They don't care about saying, hey, I want to run 40% of the time. They just want to make sure they're getting positive yards each play they get. If they have a pass and it's 3 yards, they see it as, hey, that was just as good as a 3-yard run.
Opening drive for SMU to the Texas Tech 26. Gilbert steps up, completes inside the 15. It's Joseph again. Opening drive, the Mustangs take it inside the Texas Tech 15.
Darius Joseph, nice job adjusting to a back shoulder throw from Garrett Gilbert, trying to get a wheel route. Garrett Gilbert recognized he wasn't going to beat him over the top, so he drilled it on that back shoulder. So tough for defenders to adjust to that on the fly.
Give is to Shed. Stood up right around the 10. You see more similarities and differences between run and shoot, air raid when you kind of look at the film?
I see a lot more similarities. You're talking about pass concepts, their route trees. They're just little idiosyncrasies that, you know, different coaches have their thing. They want to try to put their fingerprint on the offense. But I tell you, put two guys like Mummy and June Jones together and it's pretty dangerous.
Gilbert, incomplete. Receiver Derek Thompson fell down. So 3rd down and 8 for SMU on the opening drive. The Red Raiders had to settle for a field goal on their first attempt after getting it down into SMU territory. Now can the Mustangs punch it in?
Again, this is always the trouble. When you get down in the red zone, the guys aren't playing as soft. Those easy passes, those short, easy completions, they're not as easy. The defenders are buckled up a little bit tighter.
SMU struggled in the red zone last year. Shed. Fumble out of bounds. SMU will have it, but it's 4th down. Trey Porter knocked it away from Traylon Shed.
SMU trying to sneak a little draw in there in a passing situation. Oh, great tackle by number 5, Trey Porter. Perfect form tackle. Helmet right on the football, knocked it loose.
So similar to Texas Tech's opening drive, SMU settling for a field goal attempt. Chase Hover, the senior from Plano West High School, from 27. 27-yarder sneaks in there. So the offense is rolling to start, but it's field goals up there for Texas Tech and SMU. Run and shoot, air raid, field goals to start.
ESPN College Football Primetime, brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And in part by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Doak Walker, one of college football's all-time greats, who wore number 37, won the Heisman Trophy for SMU. A strong running back tradition here. Of course, Pony Express, Eric Dickerson and Craig James. Woo! Yes, that's accurate. 110 on the field here at Gerald J. Ford Stadium. A different Gerald Ford than the former president, Gerald Ford. That's Jakeem Grant, who will take a knee. Texas Tech gets it at the 25. Only 2 races left until the chase for the cup. Jimmy Johnson looks to maintain his lead on the field. The competition heats up. Atlanta Motor Speedway NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Sunday 7 on ESPN and watch ESPN. Carter Blackburn, Danny Cannell, Allison Williams, your Friday night crew for 2013 from SMU's Gerald J. Ford Stadium. Second possession for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And their true freshman walk-on quarterback, Baker Mayfield from Lake Travis High School on the west side of the Austin area. Screen, Kenny Williams. Dropped, he fumbled the football, but Williams recovers right around the 20. Joyner and Sanders get there to knock it free from Williams, who recovers.
How about the play by Joyner? Number 5 just basically runs his man. The guy who's trying to block him runs him back into the ball carrier. It's one way to make a stop.
Play fake to Williams, incomplete. That's Jakeem Grant. There is a flag down on the field in the backfield.
I think it's going to be a late hit on the quarterback.
That will bring up 3rd down and 15.
personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense number 15, 54, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That's McClanahan.
There was a penalty infraction on the play.
Definitely should have laid off him there. Plenty of time to recognize that ball is gone.
Gives Texas Tech an automatic first down.
It's Darian Wright who commits the penalty for SMU. That's the junior nose tackle.
Look at that last play, though. Baker Mayfield showing a little savvy. Pump fake to the outside. Try to hit a slant route for a big play. Almost had it.
Give is to Kenny Williams. Reverses to pick up 5. We check in with Allison Williams.
Guys, not as much production on this drive, but Texas Tech loved the way they moved the ball on the opening drive, and they want to look to keep pushing the pace. Cliff Kingsbury telling them they cannot stop us right now.
Baker Mayfield ridden out of bounds to make it 3rd down and short. Now remember, Cliff Kingsbury was the offensive coordinator last year at Texas A&M. He also started a freshman quarterback last year.
Yes, he
I
did.
Can't remember his name, Danny. I haven't even heard it all summer.
That hasn't made any headlines at all.
No, gosh, what was that guy's name? He will not start tomorrow for Texas A&M. We know that. This is 3rd down and short. Mayfield throws, incomplete. Intended for Marquez, knocked away by Kenneth Acker, the outstanding senior corner for the Mustangs.
Yeah, if you're going to pick a matchup on the outside to try to take a shot, Kenneth Acker, number 21, is a guy you might want to work away from.
He is from Grant High School, Portland, Oregon. That's June Jones High School in Portland. So Cliff Kingsbury said our offense can't be stopped. Punting on 4th down. Ryan Erksleben from Lake Travis High School. High snap. Good kick.
Good coverage, too.
Garrett Gilbert gets the football next for SMU. Trying to get it in the end zone on the second Mustang drive.
The Mustangs will take over first down and 10 at their own 15.
The SMU Mustangs haven't beaten Texas Tech since 1986, which was the last season of SMU football before the so-called NCAA death penalty. So now meeting Big 12 versus American Athletic Conference. It's Garrett Gilbert. Play action on 1st down, throwing, completing on the run. We check in with Chris Carter.
All right, Carter, Michigan State and Western Michigan. Scoreless in the early going until Jairus Jones picks this one off. And watch the lateral. Nice. Curtis Drummond takes it to Pater at Spartans with a 7-0 lead. Back to Carter and DK and Dak.
Mustangs' second drive after a field goal on their first. Garrett Gilbert joined in the backfield by Traylon Shedd. 1st and 10. Pressure picked up, dragging receiver, drops it, which was a big problem a year ago.
Boy, that was a beautiful setup, too. Texas Tech tried to bring the pressure. SMU's offensive line and backfield picked it up beautifully. That's what you want in that situation. We talked about the horizontal routes to create big plays. That was a crossing route by Jeremy Johnson. He had a step on his defender. Again, if he catches that ball, he turns it upfield for a huge gain.
Another dragging route. This time, Jeremy Johnson makes the catch. Go right back to the exact same drag route.
I like that philosophy. You know, feed him the rock. Get him another chance so he can put that last drop behind him. And we talked to June Jones and Hal Mummy yesterday about that because they struggled with some drops last year. He said, I don't even talk about it with the guys. I don't want them to dwell on it. We're just going to throw them a lot of balls, and eventually they'll start to catch them.
Johnson makes the grab, but the open field tackle from Bullitt makes it 3rd down and 4. Give is to Shedd, and he fumbles the football again.
Inside handout to number 34, Traylon Shedd.
SMU keeps it, but it's 4th down.
Traylon Shedd just a little bit sloppy with the football at the end of that play. Could have been disastrous, too. Hand over the football. Texas Tech would have had outstanding field position.
For the Mustangs, number 99, Mike Loftus.
Well, the scripts are going exactly the same for Texas Tech and SMU. Opening drive, field goals. Second drive, we get punts. And nobody's in the end zone yet. Texas Tech and SMU here on Friday night. Game day is in Clemson. It is Georgia, Clemson tomorrow night. Now, it is August, but it looks like Sadell Foster is cramping up a bit.
Yeah, he looks Sadell Foster very frustrated. Right now, here he is taking the punt. Watch his own guy. I think that is something different than cramps right there. I think that is a more serious issue too, and I think that's why his reaction. He's frustrated also with his teammate for running into him, but also frustrated that he's down. Players hate to do this. Hate to go down the first game of the season.
We'll return in a moment.
They're small.
That's Sadell Foster coming off the field for Texas Tech after that collision on the punt return.
Here's one more look. He calls for the fair catch, and then his own player gets blocked right into him.
Summit Hogue who gets blocked into him. So Texas Tech after the punt takes it 1st down and 10 from the 25. Mayfield completes over the middle. That's Marquez with a good block. Marquez freed up on the outside, gets inside the 40 with a couple of great blocks to spring him across the 40-yard line. Jakeem Grant lays out one of the defenders, a 19-yard pickup.
Remember what I told you about those short, easy passes? What makes those go? It's the blocking away. The other receivers on the field. And a couple huge blocks there, setting the tone, Texas Tech.
Give to DeAndre Washington, right around the 47.
Here's another look at the downfield blocking. Bradley Marquez has the ball. There's one. Here comes another one at the top of your screen right there by number 11, Jakeem Grant at the end of that play. Great. Guys are fighting down the field. You got to like that if you're Cliff Kingsbury, watching guys away from the football.
Mayfield throwing incomplete. Out of sync that time, intended for Jordan Davis on one of the first deep shots we've seen from Baker Mayfield.
I'm still a little bit surprised that SMU has not dialed up much blitz. Baker Mayfield looks very comfortable in the pocket. He hasn't had a lot of pressure on him. SMU basically rushing 3, dropping 8 into coverage. And Baker Mayfield's just picking them apart to this point. 7 different receivers he's completed passes to.
4 wide on 3rd down. Mayfield completes again. It's Eric Ward who makes the grab, his 3rd catch. And Texas Tech converts on 3rd down.
Yet another 3-man rush, and Baker Mayfield spots Eric Ward on the outside. Just delivers a bullet right to his receiver. Great throw.
Less than a minute remaining in the 1st quarter. Mayfield rolls away from pressure. Gets out of bounds after picking up 7, maybe 8.
You saw Baker Mayfield. He wasn't going outside easy. Flag came late. But I'll tell you what, Baker Mayfield was still attacking that line of scrimmage. He was showing no signs of, hey, I'm going out of bounds, giving yourself up. The officials might have seen it differently. And that's the one.
Personal foul. Played head, defense number 23. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
It's on Stephon Sanders, a strong side linebacker.
Here's a look. Mayfield's going over. I mean, his foot had stepped out of bounds. I mean, as a defender, you're always worried, hey, this guy could turn it back up. Mayfield's been pretty aggressive with the football, but the officials, they are looking to protect the players. Obviously, that's why the foul came in there.
Puts the ball at the 20 for Texas Tech. Last time to the 20, they settled for a field goal. Handoff goes to Kenny Williams, a pickup of 4 more.
Texas Tech inside handoff to number 34.
Here's one more look at Baker Mayfield coming out. I mean, he's not showing, hey, I'm going out of bounds. I mean, the first down marker's right in front of him. To me, it looked like he was going to try to stretch for that first down marker. Stephon Sanders said, hey, I'm trying to do my job, make sure I don't give up any extra yards. But like I said, the officials always look, especially the quarterbacks. I mean, the quarterbacks are protected in this game, as they should be, Carter.
Spoken by the former quarterback.
Offside. Defense number 8 lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Still second down. Please accept game clock to 20 seconds.
A 5-yard offside penalty.
20 seconds and it will roll. First down and 5.
All right, Baker Mayfield's been solid in the open field, but when the red zone, when he gets down here, it's a little bit tighter, a little bit tougher. This is where they need to step up and try to punch one in.
Screen to Ward. Ward pushing down to the 7-yard line as the clock ticks toward the end of the first quarter.
He takes the ball to the SMU 6-yard line. A pickup of 9 yards and a Texas Tech first down.
3-3 at the end of 1. It will be first and goal for Texas Tech. Can Cliff Kingsbury's Red Raiders punch it in to start the second? Sunsetting doesn't mean it's going to cool off anytime soon here in Dallas, Texas. First play of the second quarter will be first and goal for Texas Tech. Mustangs pressure up the middle. Mayfield tosses incomplete. Intended for Eric Ward. Chris Parks there in coverage. No flag.
And for the first time, I've been asking for it for SMU to dial up some pressure. That time they brought the house, opened up an opportunity outside to Eric Ward one-on-one. But just that enough pressure kind of took Mayfield off his game, overthrew it just a little bit.
Second and goal. No Jace Amaro available for Texas Tech. So Baker Mayfield stood up at the 1, nearly sneaking into the end zone. It's going to be third down and goal from the 1 for Texas Tech.
That time SMU dropping soft into coverage. That was a design quarterback draw by Baker Mayfield, almost able to punch it in, but a nice job SMU coming up for the stop. And this is where typically these teams that like to chuck it around the yard, they struggle getting some of these tough yards sometime.
Third and goal from the 1. Mayfield hands off. Williams didn't get there. Zach Wood and Jay Scott lead the charge to make fourth and goal from the 1. And in Cliff Kingsbury's first game as a head coach, he has a big decision early in the second quarter.
You know what? He's had an attitude, an aggressive attitude, that, hey, we're going to attack opposing defenses, and this is a great time to make a statement. You've got a young staff, a young quarterback. Say you've got a lot of confidence in them, but like I said, it's tough for these teams to get it done on the ground. They're so used to pass blocking.
Fourth and goal from the 1. Mayfield, bootleg, touchdown. Flag on the play. Coming back.
You can tell by Cliff Kingsbury the reaction he had.
Offense number 1. 10-yard penalty from the goal line. Still fourth down.
Looked like the hold was on
number 18,
Eric Ward.
Right. Boy, that's going to drive you nuts, too. Right there, caught a little bit of jersey. They see the jersey out like that, an easy call. And that has got to drive you nuts. You saw the frustration on Cliff Kingsbury. You're on the outside. Baker Mayfield probably could have made him miss without that block.
So that means another field goal attempt for Texas Tech. That's Ryan Buston on for the field goal. At 3rd and goal from the 1, couldn't get it in. So now Ryan Buston, 27-yarder, is good. And Texas Tech has a 6-3 lead. Carter Blackburn, Danny Cannell, Allison Williams here on Friday night. Saturday, Georgia, Clemson. Danny, I've seen you on TV a little bit in the last couple of weeks. I know
running my mouth.
Some strong opinions, especially about Georgia, Clemson.
I do. I really feel like this game has national title implications. For one of these teams, it could really vault them right to the center of that conversation. Georgia behind Aaron Murray, Todd Gurley. They've got some offensive firepower. Biggest question for them is defensively. And you've got Clemson on the flip side. They've got Taj Boyd, Sammy Watkins. They're going to throw up a lot of points as well. This game, I really feel like if Clemson gets off on the right foot, it could put them in the right direction. They're playing in the ACC. They've got Florida State at home. Schedule sets up nicely. And not only national title implications, but this could kick off Heisman Trophy candidates. Aaron Murray and Taj Boyd, both outstanding quarterbacks in their own right. If they have big games, you're on the national stage, everybody's watching that game. Set you up perfectly for the rest of the season.
And Georgia, if Georgia's undefeated on October 1, they will be the new favorites to be the national champions because they're going to go through a heck of a September, Georgia, to get to October. That's Georgia undefeated on October 1. They would have wins over Clemson, South Carolina, and LSU. And I think the question, we're a long way off from that, but if Georgia's undefeated on October 1, can they handle the pressure week in, week out in order to get to January? Lancaster fields it for SMU. He's dropped right around the 16. A chance for us to check out Friday Focus as the teams get ready for Saturday. LSU on the road against TCU, just down the road in Arlington. Purdue had a stopover in Cincinnati, rather a stopover in Indianapolis on their way to play Cincinnati. The Yellow Jackets open up with Elon, and then Nebraska and Wyoming. The 18th ranked Huskers opening up with the Cowboys. Hashtag Friday Focus to check out the pictures and teams and coaches and sports information folks from around the country. Hashtag Friday Focus. We'll show your teams getting ready for Saturday. First down SMU with Garrett Gilbert from the shotgun. Complete. That's Keenan Holman ridden out of bounds. Ola Palimi. It's a first down for SMU.
All right, Carter, I promised offensive fireworks. I expected touchdowns. So these teams both sputtering when they get down to the red zone. But I'm sure these defensive coordinators, both ones, are preaching to their guys, hey, just don't give up the big play. Make them drive the length of the field. When it comes down to the red zone, that's when we'll tighten up. We'll make those passing lanes tighter. So far, that philosophy seems to be working.
Gilbert's 9 for 11 passing. He hands off to Shed here. Chance to check in with Allison.
Well, when Garrett Gilbert is on the sidelines for SMU, he's surrounded by both June Jones and Hal Mummy. They're going over what they're seeing defensively and then the options based on those looks, but it's not a one-way conversation. Gilbert also very vocal about what he has seen and what he thinks would work. It was definitely a collaboration on the sidelines.
Well, Garrett Gilbert has been through the offensive ringer a couple of different ways. Traylon Shed. And speaking of Georgia Clemson, Garrett Gilbert goes back to his high school coach was Chad Morris, who is now the offensive coordinator for the Clemson Tigers. And as a fifth-year senior, gets to compare notes with Hal Mummy and June Jones. And included in the package is Garrett Gilbert quarterback runs. June told us the first time he has ever scripted a quarterback run ever was last year with Garrett Gilbert. Here's 3rd and 7. Gilbert takes the sack, and it's Kerry Hyder, the senior who you pointed out as an impact player,
can't run
to Gilbert.
Can't run your way out of that one if you're Garrett Gilbert, but nice job getting pressure from Kerry Hyder, the defensive end. As we were watching film yesterday of SMU, their offensive line, that was one concern that they had, was how are they going to block Kerry Hyder that time. just the quickness of beating that first offensive lineman, getting to the quarterback.
Well, the offensive fireworks have not shown up yet. Good punt inside the 15. To the 28-yard line for Texas Tech. There is a flag down on the play.
The SMU punt travels 56 yards. An 18-yard return to the 28-yard line of Texas Tech, but there is a penalty marker on the field.
Eventually we'll hear from David Alvarez, our referee.
It's everybody's first game. You know, the players are working out the kinks, so are the officials.
Got a substitution infraction. That's going to be the call from David Alvarez. Substitution infraction. It's on Texas Tech.
Illegal substitution. On the return to 12-man in this formation, the penalty is declined. First down. Texas Tech.
Run and shoot, air raid. Which one's going to get in the end zone on Friday night? Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week continues. Saturday night doubleheader. Alabama versus Virginia Tech, then LSU, TCU. Danny, new offensive coordinator Cam Cameron at LSU. How much difference is that going to make for Zach Mettenberger?
I think it's going to make a huge difference. Cam Cameron, a quarterback whisperer of sorts, you know, really works well. In the spring game, he was letting Zach Mettenberger call his own plays, developing, you know, his attitude, his knowledge of the offense. I think it's going to, for a change, LSU might have to carry things offensively while their defense plays catch-up from all the guys that went on to the NFL.
A quarterback whisperer, huh?
Like that?
Would that make Gary Patterson a defensive whisperer?
That could be, yes. That would be the equivalent, yep.
Cam Cameron and Gary Patterson matching up just down the road in Arlington tomorrow night. Here it's the true freshman walk-on Baker Mayfield starting for Texas Tech. That ball is tipped and incomplete. We're already at 3rd and long on the Red Raider possession. Last possession, they kicked the field goal to go up 6-3. How do you evaluate Baker Mayfield so far?
I think he's been very comfortable out there. When he's been under duress, he's made good decisions with the football. I think he still has to stay patient because I'm sure he's as frustrated as everybody else is that they're not putting up touchdowns. Don't force anything. Just take what the defense is giving you.
Rolling out of the pocket, chased and sacked. Baker Mayfield sacked by Robert Seals on 3rd down and long.
Good pressure by SMU defensively. Just bringing one extra guy there. Robert Seals, number 30, chased down Baker Mayfield from the backside. Had no idea that pressure was coming from there.
In punt formation for the Red Raiders.
So a 3 and out for Texas Tech. Erxleben back out to punt.
For the Mustangs, Cedric Lancaster.
Cedric Lancaster back. And they're going to spot that back closer to the 40 as it was touched. And we ask again, is it going to be the Red Raiders or the Mustangs first in the end zone? SMU's chance next.
ESPN College Football Primetime, brought to you by the Volkswagen Best Thing Ever event. Visit VWDealer.com and the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
That was tough. Very tough.
All right. Don't ask me to do anything with my hands. Oh, That's a good burn.
Mission accomplished. Danny Cannell and Allison Williams to the top of the climbing wall here at SMU.
We made it to the top. Great job by the SMU students who actually run that rock wall. They teach the class, and they made sure we were safe, too. Our lives were in their hands.
Well done. I was having a sandwich. You guys were working. Good job. SMU football 1st and 10 with Garrett Gilbert, the 5th-year senior, out of the shotgun. Designed to run. Drop for a loss. We check with Chris Cotter.
It's Florida Atlantic and the U on the U right now. And here's All-American Duke Johnson. He's added 10 pounds of muscle here in the offseason. And look at the speed. 53 yards. He has 168 total yards already. It's 10-3. Miami on top.
You like Duke Johnson?
Cart, you will know Duke Johnson's name if you don't already by the end of the season. He is a special back. He is lightning in a bottle.
Shed dropped for a loss, bringing up 3rd down and long.
All right, now June Jones and Hal Mummy said they don't want to run the ball. That was 2 runs in a row. One from the quarterback there that time to Shed, the running back. I think they need to stick with what they do the best, and that's passing the football down the field. Sometimes, though, you just have to keep the defense honest, try to slip some in there, but no success whatsoever on 1st and 2nd down. Find themselves in this 3rd and 14.
Gilbert pressured, incomplete to the check down. A 3-and-out for SMU.
A little sloppy, missed opportunity there from Garrett Gilbert, missed the short crossing route. He knows it. He's upset about it. You know, as we watch these offenses kind of struggle, they're sputtering a little bit now in the 2nd quarter, struggling to finish off drives. You got to remember, early in the season, defenses are kind of always ahead of the game. You know, it's easier to just say, hey, go get the football than to worry about executing passes down the field, blocking schemes. It's just always, the defenses always seem to be ahead early.
Mike Loftus' punt will bounce inside the 5 and be downed right around the 5. Excellent special teams coverage from SMU. Well, this is Cliff Kingsbury's debut as a head coach for the Texas Tech Red Raiders on Friday night. As a player back in 2002 on Friday night against New Mexico, 407 passing yards and 6 TDs, all in a day's work.
Yeah, that was just an average game for him. 12,000 career passing yards. Shattered a number of school passing records. There you go.
Now, Cliff Kingsbury was actually recruited to Texas Tech by Spike Dykes, and then Mike Leach took over in Cliff Kingsbury's 2nd year as the Texas Tech starting quarterback. Asked Coach Kingsbury about what advice he had received from Mike Leach before his first game as Texas Tech head coach. They shared some time in Key West. Mike Leach's off-season home. Another bobble there. Williams, but he recovers. Cliff Kingsbury said walking into some of the watering holes around Key West with Mike Leach was like walking in with Norm.
Right.
Everybody knew Mike Leach. So he said, yeah, we talked some about football, but
sure they had a good time,
enjoyable time. Yeah. Complete to the outside. Marquez stretching. It's going to be 3rd and short.
When I watch Baker Mayfield, the quarterback for Texas Tech, I'm still surprised. You got to remember, he's a walk-on true freshman. Only had a couple scholarship offers from FAU, New Mexico. He really wanted TCU. That's where he wanted to go. Didn't get offered. Ended up saying, hey, I want to stay in my home state. I'm going to go to Texas Tech. And here he is starting week 1.
On 3rd and short. Handoff. Mustangs ready. Zach Wood makes the stop. It'll be 4th down and 2 for Texas Tech from inside their 15.
Again, that's the biggest knock on offenses that like to throw it around. If they're playing in the shotgun, it's short yardage situations, goal line situations, when they've got to, change their mentality. And it's, hey, we got to get a tough couple yards on the ground. It's completely different than what they're used to.
That is back-to-back 3-and-outs for Texas Tech.
In punt formation for the Red Raiders. Number 26, Brian Ertzladen. Cedric Lancaster back deep for the Mustangs.
Ertzladen hits it at the 5. Lancaster backed all the way up to the 31. Now Lancaster dragged down at the 38. SMU gets the football.
I didn't think we'd have a field position game here.
Punting and field goals. That's what you think of when you got Texas Tech and SMU, right? During the Good Hands field goal nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed more than $3 million in scholarship monies. Carter Blackburn, Danny Cannell, Allison Williams, your Friday night crew for 2013 from Dallas, Texas. SMU football, Garrett Gilbert looks long on first down, and it is caught inside the 20-yard line by Jeremy Johnson. Gilbert and the Mustangs finally hit a big one.
Great pass protection up front. Garrett Gilbert just buying a little space to work the ball down the field. And Jeremy Johnson, one of our impact players, beautiful catch down the field. So finally, we've got a big play, a big offensive play. The biggest question remains, can they finish a drive? Neither team has been able to do so yet.
51-yard pickup. Gilbert to Jeremy Johnson. Gilbert sacked back at the 17. Will Smith comes flying in to drop Gilbert at the 17.
For a loss of 6 yards back to the 16-yard line.
Weak side linebacker Will Smith, number 7, right in your screen. See the right guard, number 75. Just saw him coming right by. Gave him one of those old lays.
Fresh.
Not sure that was his pickup or not, but at that point, if you see a guy coming unblocked, at least give him an arm. Slow him down.
This is 2nd and goal. Ball spotted at the 16. Gilbert pressured from behind again. Steps up, but sacked again. This time it's Terrence Bullard. Back-to-back sacks by the Red Raiders, forcing 3rd and goal from all the way out at the 17.
That was a little different situation there. A coverage sack. Garrett Gilbert trying to work his way, trying to find a receiver. Tried to gain some yards with his legs, and Terrence Bullard, the 5th-year senior for Texas Tech, coming up with back-to-back big defensive plays for the Red Raiders.
Timeout SMU. Just when the Mustang offense appeared to be clicking, they throw it in reverse once they get down to 1st and goal from the 10. Back-to-back sacks.
Here's what I was talking about, the coverage sack, Garrett Gilbert. In this offense, too, it's built around getting the ball out of your hands. So he's sitting, looking around saying, I don't have anything. You either got to throw it away, do something there. You're hanging on the ball too long.
Friday night, Texas Tech and SMU. Saturday, a full day on the ESPN networks, including 1 Eastern, Rice versus Texas A&M. Johnny Manziel will sit the first half, play the second. I spent some
I'm
time
going to tune in about 2:30.
Yeah. I spent some time in the film room last week with Johnny Manziel, Jake Spavital, the quarterback coach at Texas A&M. I think when Johnny Manziel gets back on the field, he's going to remind all of college football why he was the Heisman Trophy winner. Cliff Kingsbury talked about the steps that he expects to see from Johnny Manziel in the sophomore year.
You know, as much as we've been talking about all the offseason things off the field, he has been putting in the time, working out, going through the spring practice, working out with quarterback gurus. I expect him to play the same, but I want to see how defenses have adjusted to him as well.
His former offensive coordinator now on the Tech sideline. 3rd and goal, pass incomplete. Traylon Shedd, the intended receiver. SMU, after a 51-yard pass play, had 1st and goal, and now a field goal attempt.
It went the wrong direction. A couple nice defensive plays by the Red Raiders there, and then a drop pass by Traylon Shedd out of the backfield. Probably wouldn't have got them down. Wouldn't have been able to get in the end zone anyway. So yet another field goal attempt.
Number 42, Chase Homer on the attempt, and a field goal of 24 yards.
This is from 34, Hover, the senior from Plano West High School. Pushes the 34-yarder through, and we are tied at 6. Just like we expected with Cliff Kingsbury and June Jones and all the offensive scheming. 6-6.
Welcome back to Dallas. We are tied up at 6 apiece between SMU and Texas Tech. The Red Raiders defense coming up with a big stop to hold SMU to a field goal, and that seemed to light a bit of a spark for true freshman quarterback Baker Mayfield. He's been pretty calm, pretty reserved on the sideline throughout the game, but after his defense came up big, he started jumping around, rallying the guys, telling them, let's go, put an end zone on the board before we get out of this half. Guys, back up to you.
And it will be Baker Mayfield and the Red Raiders getting the football after this kickoff. A game-tying field goal in the last possession for SMU. Here's Jakeem Grant, dangerous return man for Texas Tech. Grant tripped up around the 20. We check in with Chris Cotter.
Hey, Carter, coming up at the half, I'll be joined by Coach Holtz and Mark May. We'll take a look at what's happening over on ESPNU with Miami and Duke Johnson doing all they can do, and Kansas State as well struggling against North Dakota State. Back to you.
Ooh, I will be interested in that Kansas State, North Dakota State. Look, North Dakota State's a very good FCS team.
Still, Bill Snyder out in Kansas State trying to replace Colin Klein. That's not an easy thing to do.
All right, Danny, what's the approach now with Baker Mayfield?
I think you cannot try to force the issue too much. You don't want to make a mistake. Just take what they're giving to you, go through your progression. The plays will come.
Completes on first down, Eric Ward, the senior wideout.
I mean, that's the thing. As frustrated as we are watching this, we want to see some offensive production. You know that he and Cliff Kingsbury are over there saying, hey, they're trying to figure out the equation right now, the chess match. Where can we go with the football where we can have some success?
And the answer is don't force it. He is 13 of 19 now, Baker Mayfield. Second and short. Complete again. This time Bradley Marquez across the 40.
When I say don't force it, I mean don't just throw a deep ball to throw a deep ball. There'll be some times where they can pick their shots. Take them when they're there, but don't try to force the issue.
Hurry up on first down. Complete on the screen to Jakeem Grant. Bouncing outside, and here's the speedy Grant. Finally knocked out near the 25. There is a flag down. In fact, 2 flags down on the play. That's the sophomore from Mesquite, Texas, who can show a burst.
Great run, unfortunately. Watch number 18 grab that jersey again, Eric Ward. And remember, this is the second one. They had the touchdown run by Baker Mayfield, got called back. And it looked almost identical, holding the same defender. Same look of the jersey.
Player one in each team. Holding on the offense, number 18. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 96. Those penalties will offset first down.
Cameron Smith commits the foul for SMU. He showed you the hold by Eric Ward for Texas Tech. Wipe out the play, and we're back to first and 10.
First down and 10 for Texas Tech.
One thing we've seen is the offensive success that we have seen has been right here in between the 20s, the middle of the field. I mean, they've had some big plays, both teams.
Screen again, right back to Jakeem Grant, but it's incomplete. Second and 10.
Jakeem Grant, fastest wide receiver for Texas Tech. He's a guy, if you get him, like the previous play, if he can get outside, get the edge, he can make a big play. You got to catch it before you run with it.
Mayfield down the seam, nearly picked.
All right, Carter. Remember what I said? Don't force the issue. If it's there, you can take it. But that time, triple coverage, trying to work a post down the middle of the field. There's an SMU player down.
That's Randall Joyner down after Hayden Greenbauer knocked it away incomplete. But to your point on the throw, clearly that wasn't open for Baker Mayfield.
I mean, he's trying to work a post route down the middle of the field. But you'll see there's a lot of traffic in there. 3 red jerseys. That's a really tight window. He's got a lot of confidence for a true freshman, but that one's just, I don't care how good your arm is. You gotta pull that down and get off that throw down the field and hit something underneath. They'll be there. There'll be an opportunity to make the play. Just got to make it when it's there.
And again, the player down for SMU is the senior Buck linebacker Randall Joyner, senior from Carrollton, Texas, who had 93 tackles, 3 interceptions a season ago. A big part in SMU Mustang defense that performed really well a year ago.
Another one running into his own guy too.
That's very similar, yes.
Undercut, and if you get, you get your foot planted in the wrong way and a player rolls up under you. See him obviously in a lot of pain.
Joyner has 5 tackles tonight already in the first half, and the senior from Carrollton limps off. Saw Sadell Foster from Texas Tech leave the game earlier on a similar play.
Randall Joyner really a centerpiece to this SMU defense. And that was the one concern for both coaches, was talking about depth issues. They were anticipating Heat having to go to the second team. Now we're starting to see some injuries. We're having to see some backups step up.
That's Brandon Henderson into the game now, backing up Randall Joyner. Henderson, a senior from Abilene. Back to play on 3rd and 10. Mayfield steps up, incomplete, intended for Jordan Davis. Jay Scott there in coverage.
Another throw there. It was a tight window. Maybe could have made it with a little bit of a better throw. But even on 3rd and 10, you don't have to throw it past 10 yards to get the first down. You can hit a guy, a check down, come off it. Maybe he catches it at 5, but he can run with it to get that first down.
So Ertz-Laban on to punt again for Texas Tech, with Cedric Lancaster back for the Mustangs. Side of the foot, out of bounds right around the 35. We check with Chris Collins.
All right, Carter, here's what's coming up at the half. Coach Holtz and Mark May will join me. We'll talk about Miami over on the U right now, taking control over FAU. Frank Beamer's going to join us as well. His team taking on the #1 team in the country on Saturday. And we'll also check in with the game day crew down in Clemson. That's coming up at the half.
Game day now at 9 a.m. Eastern time on ESPN. So, I mean, hours away from game day from Clemson.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
Did it feel like Christmas Eve? I mean, the
yes,
anticipation
last night,
on Thursday, getting ready for that kickoff, that North Carolina-South Carolina
First
game.
day of the college football season should be a national holiday. And even more importantly, the day after. Should be.
Well, I guess that is the case on this Monday. It is Labor Day weekend. Wish granted, Danny Cannell. Gilbert heaves long on first down. Batted away, incomplete. Fellini knocks it away from Keenan Holman as SMU looks long again.
Trying to take another shot down the field. I think Garrett Gilbert just held this ball a little bit too long. That's why it was underthrown. But then watch this play. Keenan Holman, watch where the ball lands. It actually hits the defender's helmet. Holman tried to stay with it. He saw that ball tipped in the air, tried to make a great second effort.
Gilbert now 11 for 16. Pressure coming. Gilbert sacked at the 26. Robertson and Aguavin get there.
Texas Tech has definitely brought more pressure. Just coming unblocked right off the top of your screen. Not sure if that's on Garrett Gilbert, realizing he has to get rid of the football, or if that's on his left tackle who needed a kick out there. You're not quite sure unless you know the offense. But either case, A poor play for SMU, finding themselves really backed up against the wall here, 3rd and 17.
Draw for Garrett Gilbert on 3rd and 17, and he takes a pop right at the 37, the original line of scrimmage. 4th down here, 3 minutes. Texas Tech is going to get the football with ample enough time.
Plenty of time.
In fact, timeout. Stopping the clock at 3 minutes. Well, we mentioned that game day begins 9 a.m. Eastern time, 4 hours. So Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Manziel Madness. Wright Thompson on Johnny Football. They may be calling him Johnny Aggie this year. Nick Saban live, getting ready for Virginia Tech. A celebrity guest picker, and Scott Van Pelt takes a trip to Death Valley to try and be convinced that this is the year for Clemson. Our Friday focus as the game day crew gets ready from Clemson, South Carolina.
I've tried to convince Van Pelt. He doesn't listen to me, though. I've tried to get him to buy into Clemson.
And what's the response? We'll see what Coach Corso has headset-wise with Desmond Howard and Samantha Ponder as game day gets ready. 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow on ESPN. 4th down. This is Jacobson back to receive it. Fair catch right around the 27. And that is Randall Joyner coming off for SMU. So what's Pollock's response when you try?
No, Van Pelt. Okay. Well, and he went there to, he's going to do a spectacular piece for his bald man on campus, I'm sure. But like a lot of people, he wants to see Clemson prove that they can go the length of a season and play well, because they've had spurts where they can play and they put up big points, but then they have a setback, and that's the question for Clemson this season. Can they avoid that hiccup in the middle of their schedule or in week 1?
What's the answer?
I'm buying into them this year. I like Clemson.
There's a lot to like. Chad Morris, the offensive coordinator, former head coach at Lake Travis High School. That's where Baker Mayfield and Garrett Gilbert played their high school ball. Mayfield completes. Nice grab by Jordan Davis.
Well, the advantage this team has behind Baker Mayfield is they don't even have to run a 2-minute drill. They just run their normal offense at this up-tempo pace.
Texas Tech used the timeout before the punt, stopped the clock. 2 timeouts remaining. It's 3rd down already after the completion to Ward.
The one thing you've noticed, and both these defenses doing a pretty good job of these open field tackles on these shorter passes.
That's Jay Scott on the stop there.
That's not easy to go against some of these wide receivers in open space.
Third and 4 here. Late run for a defender. Lincoln Richard onto the field for SMU. Mayfield completes to the 41, 1st down. Jordan Davis makes the grab. Clock temporarily stops on the 1st down. Red Raiders hurry up. Handoff. That's Jakeem Grant out of the backfield, shaking his way inside the SMU 45. The speedy Jakeem Grant as a running back.
SMU defensively had guys scattered all over the field. They were not ready for that play. They were shuttling a couple guys in and out. Now you've got 2 SMU players down.
Jay Scott and Jakeem Grant both come out of the game. Darian White is also down for SMU. Tempo creating problems for defenses around college football.
Right, these guys are scattered. They're walking around. They're looking for a signal. You've got substitutions coming in. I mean, how easy is that for the Texas Tech offensive linemen to get leverage, get a good drive, and open up some holes for Grant?
There's a lot of advantages in why teams are going to more hurry up, quicker tempo. But one of the goals is to try and dummy down the defense, basically.
Yeah, because you get them, they're flustered, and then all of a sudden they say, hey, go with a base defense. Go cover 2, go cover 3. And then you know what they're running.
In 30 seconds, we're back to Texas Tech and SMU. after the players walk off the field for SMU, which forced a stoppage in the game. We're back to first down and 10 for Texas Tech. From the 42. Clock rolling on, ready for play. Mayfield draw, wide open up the middle. Mayfield tripped up near another Texas Tech first down. Greenbauer makes the stop. 9-yard gain, second down.
Picked up a great block from his running back, DeAndre Washington. Basically followed him right up the hole on a quarterback draw.
Clock rolling to 1:10 remaining in the half. Mayfield, downfield complete. Touchdown, Texas Tech. Jordan Davis into the end zone. And the walk-on true freshman quarterback, Baker Mayfield, puts the Red Raiders in the end zone. Texas Tech on top. First career touchdown pass for Baker Mayfield. PAT good from Ryan Buston, 13-6. Texas Tech is in the end zone first.
Remember we talked, he forced two of these exact same routes earlier in this drive. Remember I said don't force it, the plays will come. This time he had the opportunity. I love the way Baker Mayfield planted his foot in the pocket, delivered a bullet, beautifully thrown ball right down the middle of the field to Jordan Davis. On a frozen rope too. Watch Mayfield, a lot of confidence, got good protection. And how about this throw? Just a post route over the middle of the field, right in front of the safety. You saw number 12, Daniel Roundtree, might have overplayed that a hair. And Baker Mayfield, I promise you, Carter, that's a touchdown pass he'll never forget. Your first college touchdown pass.
Talked to his high school head coach, Hank Carter at Lake Travis High School, who said Baker has as strong an arm as anyone who's been through here. And with a quarterback lineage that includes Garrett Gilbert at Lake Travis High School, to say Baker's arm strength as strong as anyone who's been at Lake Travis, that's a compliment.
And you can see it right there. I mean, that ball was moving. That had some velocity to it. And, you know, you look at guys who don't get scholarship offers, you know, maybe they're not 6'4" and they don't look the part. But the one constant thing we've heard about Baker Mayfield, he's a fighter. He's got those intangibles. And from what I've seen, he's got an incredible arm, too.
Touchback, SMU gets it at the 25. And by the way, Lake Travis High School tonight has a game against Converse Judson, a big-time matchup in Texas high school football. Mark Smith is the head coach at Converse Judson, who was the head coach at Kerrville Tivy when he had a quarterback named Johnny Manziel. See, it all comes back to Johnny Manziel.
You know your Texas high school football. I'm impressed.
Hey, come on now. I know.
For Garrett Gilbert to come right back.
2 timeouts left for SMU. Gilbert dances around the pocket and completes. Johnson gets out of bounds. 54 seconds showing on the clock for the Mustangs.
Plenty of time, got 2 timeouts. Nice job of the wide receiver working the sideline, knowing to get out of bounds, stop the clock.
And when you talk about 2-minute offense, that's the genesis for the air raid. It's the genesis for the hurry-up, no huddle that Gus Malzahn now running at Auburn. Basically, this offense all the time. Gilbert, complete over the middle, just shy of the first down, so the clock keeps rolling. That's Legas who makes the catch. There's Joseph, rather, makes the grab.
They got to pick up the pace, get a playoff. Wasting a lot of time. These seconds are valuable.
And 2 timeouts left for the Mustangs. Check down. Shed picks up the first down to the 40. Clock stops temporarily with 21 seconds. Long way to go with 21 seconds.
Not for a field goal. I mean, they only need another 30 yards to get there.
To number 7, Will Smith.
They're not using a time. Just kind of sloppy here, this 2-minute drill for SMU late.
Clock's rolling on the ready for play. Gilbert throws it out of bounds, incomplete. 9 seconds left here. 2 timeouts, and
well, they haven't used either one of them too. In my mind, the way they're lining up the line of scrimmage, they're almost content to go into halftime. They just don't want to, you know, mess it up. I'm surprised they haven't been a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more of a sense of urgency for SMU offensively before half.
2 timeouts, and SMU looks like they're going to take into the locker room. Gilbert steps up, completes. Better get out of bounds in a hurry.
Well, remember those valuable seconds?
Yep.
You're going to run out of time here because you didn't call a timeout earlier, because now they're knocking on the door of field goal range. They're not even have time to run another play. They might get one more shot at it. But they could have had another play here. You know what I'm saying, Carter? They could have gotten some more yards and had a more manageable field goal attempt.
This is 51 for Chase Hover. His career long is 52. He had a 48-yarder in the bowl win at the end of last year for SMU over Fresno State, Sheraton Hawaii Bowl. So he has a strong leg, the senior from Plano West High School, and now
Timeout on the field.
a timeout by SMU. So before the 51-yard attempt, a timeout used by SMU. But Danny, you pointed out exactly at the time, not only timeouts, but just getting to the line and having that play called, especially when this is their base offense.
Right. I mean, when I saw them take the field at minute 1 when they started this drive, I'm thinking they got 2 timeouts. They can easily get down to, you know, at least have a shot at the end zone or a very manageable field goal. And yet there was just kind of a lackadaisical attitude out there on behalf of Garrett Gilbert and the entire SMU offense. Now, they make this field goal, it's probably a moot point anyway, but still, I thought they could have had a better attempted field goal, a closer one.
Chase Hover from 51, and Chase Hover's 51-yarder is good to close out the half. So timeouts are not.
He knows what he's doing. He knows his kicker.
A 51-yard field goal by Chase Hover to close it out. Only 1 touchdown in the first half. It goes to Texas Tech, but Hover makes it a 13-9 game with a 51-yarder. Here's Allison Williams with Cliff Kingsbury.
Thank you, guys. Coach, how would you assess Baker Mayfield's first half of college football?
He's competed really well. You know, he stepped in there, made some big throws. A couple of 3rd and shorts we didn't convert, but he's moved the ball well.
What does that touchdown do for his confidence in the second half?
That was big. He missed that throw earlier, came back and made it that time, so hopefully he keeps progressing.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
Carter?
Halftime of Cliff Kingsbury's first game as a head coach, and his team leads it 13-9 as Hover's 51-yarder is good by that much. We send you now to Chris Cotter.
This is Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week.
ESPN College Football Prime Time on Friday night, part of Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week. June Jones and the SMU Mustangs against Cliff Kingsbury in his first game as Texas Tech head coach. And the 34-year-old head coach of the Red Raiders, a 13-9 lead at the half. SMU will get the football to begin the second half as we welcome you back to Friday night. Carter Blackburn, Danny Cannell, Allison Williams, and all the talk about the run and shoot and the air raid and the run and raid and all those things together. 1 touchdown in the first half What's going to be different in the second half?
Well, I think you'll see the offenses start to kind of smooth out a little bit. I mean, you got to remember it's the first game of the season. But look, they're both statistically, both quarterbacks are on pace for 300 yards. But for Texas Tech specifically, Jace Amaro sat out the first half due to a suspension. He had gotten into a fight in their last bowl game. He will be back the second half. This guy jumps out at you when you watch the film. He is special. So when Texas Tech gets the ball, I'd expect them to go to him early and often.
Garrett Gilbert and the SMU offense gets it first from the 25. The fifth-year senior, the former Texas Longhorn quarterback, now with the SMU Mustangs. Throwing complete to Jeremy Johnson for an SMU first down and move the chains to the 36.
Jeremy Johnson, a pickup of 11 yards, first down, SMU.
Both teams moved the football pretty well in the first half.
Between the 20s, they've been able to move the ball successfully. Both quarterbacks been spreading it around, hitting different receivers. Both teams had a couple nice big plays.
And Gilbert 16 for 22 now in the game for 168 yards.
The game clock to 14:55.
And there it is. Traylon Shedd in the backfield with Garrett Gilbert. And Shedd breaks the first couple of tackles and gets across the 40-yard line.
Again, the run game, not a huge part of SMU's game plan offensively. They will mix it in there, try to keep you off guard, see if they can pop one through there.
Pressure on 2nd and 5. Gilbert escapes and has another SMU first down. A chance for us to check with Allison Williams.
Well, guys, I talked to June Jones at the half about what wasn't clicking offensively, and he said that Garrett Gilbert and the receivers just looked rattled. They weren't doing the simple things of throwing and catching the ball. He said in the second half, Gilbert has to do a better job of being more consistent and going through his progressions.
It's pitch and catch, right, Danny? That's all it is.
Simple, right?
Simple.
Well, that was one of the things Garrett Gilbert, when we talked to him yesterday, said he liked about Hal Mumme. He did simplify the coaching process. Say, hey, if you see a guy, hit him.
There's a guy, he hits it.
Yep.
That Shedd out of the backfield and picks up a few more. Garrett Gilbert, pretty sharp, although not big numbers in the first half.
No, but I mean, he's been distributing the ball around the field. You know, spreading it horizontally and vertically, as they said they like to do. The difference in June Jones and Hal Mumme there, of course, the big play to Jeremy Johnson down the field. Took another couple shots there as well. I think they need to do a little bit better job protecting him as well, because Texas Tech has dialed up some blitz, and they've had some success getting Garrett Gilbert. Here comes another one. 4
sacks by the Red Raiders. Gilbert gets rid of this one. There's a dragging Derek Thompson. Ridden out of bounds, and here's a flag at the end of the play. On Falimi.
End of the play. I don't know if he did get his face mask on that one, but the way his head kind of went down and you saw the jersey on it, I did not see a face mask there.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 24, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Here's one more look. Now there it is on the other side. Yeah, from the other side you could see that. It looked better. It looks more like a face mask from the other angle.
You're right, Danny. I mean, there was contact with the face mask, but from that back side where the head gets ripped, close, but the foul goes against Falimi. So 15 yards, it's in the books now. And this is Shedd, who was ridden down right around the 18, and here's another flag. It's on Aguavin.
Number 34, Traylon Shedd.
And Shedd is down.
And there is a penalty marker on the field. Credit the Texas Tech tackle to number 13, Sam Edward.
And this is why there's a rule against a horse collar. Case in point.
And you could literally hear Traylon Shedd yelling in agony.
Traylon Shedd, who spent 2 years at Texas after a terrific high school career in Cayuga, Texas. First year as a Mustang.
Yeah, his left knee just got rolled up underneath him.
As Traylon Shedd is tended to, we will step aside. Traylon Shedd, his first game as an SMU Mustang, is walking to the training table after going down on the last play from scrimmage. So as Shedd is out of the game, Prescott Line in at running back. He's the redshirt freshman, younger brother of Zach, who finished up a terrific career as a Mustang last year. This is Prescott Line taking it inside the 10. So 2nd and goal now for SMU. Mustangs seeking their first touchdown.
SMU actually running the football a little bit more frequently than we've seen him up to the point in this game. Maybe a halftime adjustment. They said, hey, we got to try to at least establish some sort of a resemblance of a ground game.
Line gets it again. Prescott Line pushes to right around the 3. It's going to be 3rd and goal for SMU from inside the 5.
Now we saw Texas Tech early in the game when they got down in here, goal line territory, where they struggled. They went to a short yardage, goal line unit where they brought in some big bodies, kind of got the formation down a little bit smaller. Let's see if SMU tries to spread them out. Now they're going with a more typical goal line formation here as well.
Line, fake it to Line, and then Gilbert throws for a touchdown. Flag down on the play. Jeremiah Gaines, the true freshman, makes the grab. Now we check the flag.
However, there is a penalty marker on the field.
Holding. Offense, number 29, 10-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
And now both teams have had a touchdown wiped out because of a holding penalty.
Prescott Line, he's the back. Watch him. He doesn't get the ball. I mean, I don't know how you call a hold. He's getting tackled. The guy thought he had the ball.
That's a hold?
I'm not exactly sure how that call was made.
Boy, that's...
I mean, they just kind of wrapped up each other. It was like, I mean, literally, he was tackled.
So now 3rd and goal. After that holding call, Gilbert scrambling. Gilbert ridden out of bounds right around the 10. Robertson forces Gilbert out of bounds. It's 4th down and another field goal attempt coming for SMU. That's a touchdown that's wiped out on a holding call. Now, the only explanation, I think, for that, Danny, is that the wrong number was called, because that was Prescott Line on a
that's why it's number 67, the right guard. He's...
That's not a hold either. I don't think that's a hold either. So the touchdown wiped out for SMU, and now Chase Hover. Field goal is no good. He misses from 27. And what should have been a touchdown for SMU is 0 points on the board on the first drive of the second half for the Mustangs.
That's got to be frustrating for June Jones to come out your opening drive the second half. You make some adjustments, you run the football with a little more success, and I think he's having a conversation right now about that holding call where the touchdown was called back.
Who is the hold supposedly on is question number 1.
And you can see him. He's saying who was the holding call on.
And then because the touchdown wiped out on 3rd down, you have to kick it on 4th, and a 27-yarder is no good. And now the Texas Tech offense takes the field with number 22, Jace Amaro, who had to sit in the first half because of a punch thrown in the bowl game last year. DeAndre Washington gets it on first down, but it's not going to be long before we see Jace Amaro make an impact in this game.
No, we went and watched the spring game from Texas Tech, and he was the guy. He kept getting a lot of balls. He's a big target out there. He can run some too. He made catch after catch in that spring game, in traffic as well.
Missed 6 games last year because of the spleen injury, then came back for the bowl game. Punch thrown. That's why he sat the first half, wasn't on the sidelines for Texas Tech. So first action of the year for Jace Amaro. Baker Mayfield completes to Jakeem Grant, who goes hurtling across the 30. Kenneth Acker on the stop.
Jakeem Grant saw a defender go at his legs. Instead of getting his legs taken out from under him, just jumped right over him. Pretty acrobatic play.
DeAndre Washington on first down. And one of the consequences for the severe penalties on targeting is coaches are fearful you will see more guys tackling low, more lower body.
Yeah, I mean, it's only natural too. If you can't go high, the alternative is to go low.
Baker Mayfield completes to the outside Washington. He's wrapped up, make it third down. We talk about the increased penalties for targeting. That includes this year potential ejection from a game. And if it happens in the second half, if you're ejected from a game, you have to sit the first half of the next game. Rogers Redding, the national coordinator of officials, says the goal is to get that out of the game completely.
You make the penalty that severe, they'll definitely have to adjust the way they play the game defensively.
SMU has called their first time out of the half.
Prior to 3rd and 7, timeout SMU. Third down Red Raiders rather when we come back.
ESPN College Football Primetime, brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And Buffalo Wild Wings, the official hangout for NCAA football.
Coming off another bowl win for a team who didn't get to go to a bowl for a long time until June Jones arrived, and now some anticipation for 2013. A sellout crowd, in fact the first advanced sellout crowd ever in this stadium's history. Baker Mayfield completes. There's Jace Amaro.
That's that post route down the middle of the field. We saw Baker Mayfield have some success with that earlier in the game, and now he's got the even bigger target going down the middle, Jace Amaro.
Mayfield complete again. Jace Amaro again on first down.
I mean, you're watching number 22. He's 6'5", 260 pounds, and he can run.
Red Raiders hurry up, first down again. This time a handoff. Kenny Williams stopped behind the line by Stephon Sanders.
Nice tackle by Stephon Sanders. Able to get behind the line of scrimmage because SMU is struggling to slow down this Red Raider offense right now. Now they're trying to shuttle in some guys on this drive, getting gas. That's been an issue for both teams defensively, is keeping up with the pace of the game.
Mayfield looks screen, comes back, screen the other way. Knocked down by Bo Barnes and nearly had the pick.
Bo Barnes almost hauled that pass in. Got one of those big mitts up there. Recognized it was a screen pass, and that's a scary one for Baker Mayfield. Got to loft it right over him, put a little touch on him. I'll tell you what, these defensive ends are getting more athletic every year.
On third down, Baker Mayfield, the walk-on true freshman.
You remember I told you early in the game, Carter, I said that's where you judge a quarterback's value. Third down and red zone. Now, red zone still remains. So, he's got to pick it up there, but third down, made some really good decisions with the football.
Empty backfield on 3rd and 11 for Baker Mayfield.
Please put the play clock on 25 seconds, please. Thank you.
Play clock's rolling without the ready for play signal. Mayfield complete.
Guess who?
Jace Amaro, who missed the first half. 3 catches on this drive for Texas Tech to take it to the 25.
He's the type of player, too, that can make an impact immediately.
Mayfield incomplete. That's intended for Marquez.
Now, not only because of the catches that he makes, but that one there, he was underneath. The defensive back sucked up on him, which allowed Baker Mayfield to go over the top and almost had the completion of Bradley Marquez.
Empty again on 2nd and 10. Screen, Jakeem Grant. Sprinting inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal, Texas Tech.
Kingsbury's pushing the tempo right now. Texas Tech hustling up as fast as possible. They're ready to snap it.
Grant out of the backfield. Jakeem Grant. Dropped back at the 10. That's Kenneth Acker, the corner with the stop. 2nd and goal. And another SMU player down. This is Bo Barnes, the defensive end.
You know, look at this Texas Tech offense. Really, it seems like some life has been pumped into this offense. I mean, we talked about the impact of Jace Amaro sitting out the first half, coming in here in the second half. And it looks like him and Baker Mayfield have a great rapport together. And sometimes, I mean, you as a freshman core, even though you're young, you haven't played much, you can recognize those guys that get open, that have a knack for catching the football, that are big targets. And you can just see it's kind of infused some life and some energy into this Texas Tech, the entire offense.
See Bo Barnes down on the field for SMU. And one of the tactics that has been used against tempo offenses is guys going down. Now, we are not going to speculate, and every official you talk to says there is no way we are going to say pass judgment on the field whether a player is injured, not injured, or whatever. You can't do it.
Right.
And especially when player safety is the paramount in the rule book, in the NCAA football rule book. So we're not saying that Bo Barnes is going down.
Right.
For any other reason
plus,
than
too, you got to remember, it's the games as the game goes on. You're going to start seeing more guys cramp up. You're going to start seeing, guys are going to start getting dinged up.
But yeah, Gus Malzahn at Auburn at SEC Media Day certainly wanted to weigh in on that subject.
Yeah.
And by the way, tomorrow night's Gus Malzahn and Auburn against Mike Leach and Washington State. That's on the U as we continue with our offensive innovators matchups. Mayfield to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Marquez hauls it in. Mayfield has his 2nd touchdown pass, and the Red Raiders strike on the opening possession of the 2nd half. There's the air raid. SMU touchdown wiped out. Red Raiders punch it through to take an 11-point lead.
Baker Mayfield, the true freshman walk-on quarterback, showing some patience, letting the play develop, lofting a nice touch pass to Bradley Marquez. Now the question remains, can SMU answer? We'll find out.
(20-9), Texas Tech on SMU. DeAndre Washington into the locker room. After that touchdown by Texas Tech.
Looks like he's all right.
And looks running pretty good.
Sometimes you gotta go, you gotta go.
Don't do it with the cameras around you. Five kicks off. Lancaster from the goal line. Dropped it to 17. Let's take a look at how Bobby Leach went the extra mile. Brought to you by Firestone. Flashing back to November 1982. SMU versus Texas Tech. SMU had an undefeated season going, 13-game winning streak. Game tied. Looked like it was going to end in a tie. The ball ends up in Blaine Smith's hands, who laterals to Bobby Leach, who races 91 yards for a touchdown, earning the nickname Miracle Man. SMU beats Texas Tech. Next week, they close out the undefeated Southwest Conference championship season. Went on to play in the Cotton Bowl, 1982. Yes, this is a matchup of former Southwest Conference schools. SMU now in the American Athletic Conference, which has a BCS bid this year, inheriting the old Big East football's BCS bid. Texas Tech now in the Big 12. First and 10, Prescott line gets the handoff, picks up a couple. So 1995 was the last Southwest Conference football season, officially dissolved after the 95-96 school year. So Baylor, Houston, Rice, SMU, Texas, Texas A&M, TCU, and Texas Tech. There's been a lot of conference shuffling in that group since, including before we went to the Big 12. Incomplete to Jeremy Johnson.
All right, Carter. Okay. I know there is a lot of time left in this game.
Okay.
But the way Texas Tech moved the ball on that last drive, the way they've kind of, their sideline right now is full of energy. I think for June Jones and this SMU team, they need to do something good on this drive. Now, they might be just settle for a field goal, but even this third down just becomes bigger, because if you're not careful, things can get away from you. And that's not to say they can't. I mean, they've got plenty of offensive firepower on their own.
Making this a critical 3rd and 7. Gilbert is going to scramble for an SMU first down. Flag down as Gilbert's dropped at the 31 by Austin Stewart.
On the quarterback keeper gains 9 yards. There is a penalty marker down on the field.
During the run, holding, defense number 30, 10-yard penalty enforced from the end of the run. First down.
One of the things about Garrett Gilbert that's been impressive is his ability to run the football. It's kind of a newfound gift that he's discovered last season. Here he notices downfield, everybody's covered, defenders are backing out in their drops, notices the middle of the field open, knows he needs 7 yards, went up and got it. That was one of the things they said. They're not going to call so many design quarterbacks runs, but one of the things that his coaches emphasized to Garrett Gilbert was, if you don't like it, tuck it and run it.
And SMU gets that critical 3rd down conversion. Tipped ball, incomplete.
That is the worst feeling as a quarterback, when that ball is tipped in the air, what seems like forever. So there were a couple Red Raider defenders that looked like they had their eyes set on it.
So Dartwan Bush got a hand on it. 2nd and 10 now. Gilbert to a dragging receiver. Holman makes the first defender miss. 3rd down coming. SMU 4 for 11 on 3rd down, including the last scramble by Garrett Gilbert. Gilbert scrambles for another first down, cuts it back inside the 25.
There it is. Drop back, didn't like what he saw in the passing game. That was not quite as evident for him. Tight little window. But when you tuck it, you run decisively. Get those extra yards. It is so tough. It gives defensive coordinators fits when they think they've got everything locked down in the passing game, and then the next thing you know, the quarterback's running out of there with a lot of space to run.
19-yard scramble by Gilbert. Steps up again, goes scrambling inside the 5, into the end zone. Touchdown, SMU. Garrett Gilbert takes it himself into the end zone for the Mustangs.
For 23 yards and a Mustang touchdown.
SMU finally into the end zone.
It's number 42, Chase Hover.
Hover for the PAT. He missed a 27-yarder earlier in the third. Critical drive for SMU. The Mustangs get in the end zone.
Hey, we talked about them answering. That's exactly what they did, in large part to fifth-year senior Garrett Gilbert, who didn't do it through the air. Wasn't the air raid. Garrett Gilbert doing it with his legs.
Garrett Gilbert with his new offensive coordinator, Hal Mumme. Boy, it's been quite a journey for Garrett Gilbert. From Lake Travis High School to Texas, the BCS championship game. Really good profile by Pete Thamel in Sports Illustrated that comes out this week about Garrett Gilbert and really the lessons learned and the relentless optimism from Garrett Gilbert.
It's a great story of perseverance, you know, of somebody who's been through a lot of adversity, but he's kept his head up, you know, academically, was able to get his degree, which allowed him to transfer without sitting out a year. And then as he becomes more and more comfortable in this offense here at SMU, I think you're going to see the statistics start to show that, and that's the case tonight.
Jakeem Grant from the 5 for Texas Tech stood up around the 18 as we check with Chris Cotter.
All right, the U started to pull away over on the U. Herb Waters here is going to take this handoff and after the pitch and go 63 yards for the score. Watch the little move at the end right here. He's in the clear, right? Now he's got to make a move right there. 27-6, late third. Miami with the lead. And Jake Waters getting his first start, replacing Colin Klein for K-State. Manhattan, a close one here with North Dakota State. He finds Tyler Lockett for the bomb. It's 14-7 right now. K-State on top.
I'm back here in Dallas. That is Tony Castle, who's down right now for SMU following the kickoff. Chance to remind you about Saturday night. Potential national championship implications, potential Heisman implications as Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week continues with Georgia versus Clemson. Saturday night, primetime, 8 Eastern.
You know the importance of this game, right, Carter? In
ACC,
the BCS,
SEC.
oh, there's a lot on the line. But in the BCS era, only one team has lost in week 1 or 2 and gone on to play in the title game. That was in 1998. Florida State lost week 1 to Miami. Went on to the national title game, lost to Tennessee that year. But since then, if you lose week 1 or week 2, you're done.
This note from Brett McMurphy, I mean, you have to go back to Colorado in 1990 for a national championship team who didn't start the year 2-0. Now,
I think that trend could be bucked. I think Georgia, if they play them tight and they happen to lose, they could come back south. Their schedule, if they, you know, have one loss, they could do it easily.
That's Kenny Williams to near the 20, and you can lose a game early, especially in the SEC. If Georgia comes back and wins the SEC championship, that has almost become a de facto play into the
automatic
championship
bid.
game. Right. So big game, but not a season ender, a championship ender, especially for the Georgia Bulldogs if they don't win. Mayfield steps up. Nice throw, nice read, getting it to Marquez again.
I can't say enough about how impressed I am with Baker Mayfield. The decision-making, the awareness of when to get rid of the football when there's pressure, adjusting his throws on the fly. And that might look like something simple, but not making a bad play really worse.
And a late hit on Mayfield. Bo Barnes.
Receiver number 4 was in the area, so there's no intentional grounding. Personal foul. Roughing the passer, number 94 in the defense. 15-yard penalty and an automatic. First.
So a busted play turns into 15-yard penalty.
Mayfield wasn't ready for the snap. And I mean, Baker Mayfield may be a walk-on true freshman, but maybe he deserves some credit for his acting skills there as well, because that to me did not look like a vicious hit.
Enough for a 15-yard penalty, take it out of the 45.
But the reaction got it.
Mayfield has led touchdown drives his last 2 possessions. That's knocked away by Acker. Now, Hank Carter, his high school coach at Lake Travis, said, we kind of expected Baker was going to prove a lot of people wrong because he was not offered the scholarships by the schools he wanted to go to. He was offered scholarships by places like Washington State, where Mike Leach is, by Rice, offered and recruited by a lot of schools, but he's a walk-on at Tech. Showing off the arm, going deep. It is incomplete, intended for Reginald Davis.
Had Reginald Davis had a step on the defensive back. Ball just kind of drifted out of bounds for Baker Mayfield. I just keep going back to the fact that Baker Mayfield only a few months ago was walking down, you know, in a cap and gown to receive his high school diploma.
Third and 10 here, where Mayfield has been terrific. Scrambling. Still scrambling. Fumbles! Mayfield recovers his own fumble. Holt applies the pressure on Mayfield.
Is sacked.
Fourth down, but Mayfield gets back on top of the football.
He's trying to make a play, trying to make something happen, but when you do that, you have to protect the football. You could almost see it. The ball, you see some, got a little loose with it. It was carrying it a little bit out wide. Fortunate he was able to get back on top of that ball.
Blake Poston is back here for SMU. Burks Laban to punt again. Long time for a punt. Burks Laban gets it away from the 16. Post wrestled down as soon as he grabs it. Garrett Gilbert and the SMU offense, last time that they had the football, 3 rushes, 51 yards, inning, and a touchdown.
Texas Tech defensively is going to have to make an adjustment to make sure somebody is accountable for Garrett Gilbert. Not known most of his early career to be a runner, but late second half of last season, and you're seeing it tonight, showcasing some of the skills. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's got a knack for seeing space and running to it.
8 rushing touchdowns a year ago for Garrett Gilbert, his first year as a Mustang, and a rushing touchdown on the last drive. That's McGuavin down for Texas Tech, number 13 on the special teams play. He plays the Mike linebacker position for the Red Raiders as well, so that's a key loss for at least a play for the Red Raiders. Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week continues Saturday night. The doubleheader, Alabama versus Virginia Tech, and then LSU versus TCU.
Tell you what, watch out for TCU. Gary Patterson, always defensively, his team is going to come to play. And then Casey Pahal, unbelievable quarterback, great story. You know, had some personal issues, but you can't deny the fact that he is a quarterback who knows how to execute, knows how to win games. It should be a fantastic game.
Oh, that's if he starts. There's a quarterback controversy at
I will
TCU
be
as well.
shocked if you don't see him the majority of that game.
Prescott line across the 21-yard line.
We've seen this early in this college football scene. We've seen more quarterback competition, controversy, whatever you want to call it. But coaches, they're not going to show their hand if they don't have to, especially early in this first week of the season.
Well, Cliff Kingsbury certainly didn't show his hand. It was a not very well-kept secret this week that Baker Mayfield, the walk-on true freshman, had won the job, but it was not officially announced until just prior to kickoff tonight. Gilbert goes scrambling, throws, incomplete, off the hands of Jeremy Johnson.
And another drop. There have been several drops by SMU's receivers. Jeremy Johnson's had a couple. That one there was an opportunity for a big play.
Only two for 4, although Gilbert has scrambled effectively a couple of times on 3rd down, including on the last drive.
And this is where somebody on Texas Tech has to be spying on Garrett Gilbert.
Pressure. Gilbert sacked back at the 11. Forget the spot, let's just go get him.
Or you just send guys right up the gut.
Smith and Alway bring the pressure and get to Gilbert.
I mean, the middle of the field, which has been what has been wide open and what Garrett Gilbert has been able to attack. Well, number 7, Will Smith, he lines up right in the middle of the field, comes right up the heart, unaccounted for, and a big sack for Texas Tech.
Matt Wallerstedt's defense, 5 sacks tonight for Texas Tech. Jacobson bobbles the punt, gets back on top of it around the Pony's mane at midfield. Carter Blackburn, Danny Cannell, Allison Williams, your Friday night crew for 2013. Baker Mayfield, walk-on true freshman who beat out Davis Webb, 6'4" guy who was a much more high-profile recruit. And Davis Webb actually graduated high school early from Prosper, Texas. That's north of Dallas. So he went through the spring, and it was Webb and Michael Brewer fighting for the job. Brewer goes down with a back injury during the summer. Baker Mayfield comes in, and in 7-on-7 sessions in the summer and fall camp, beats out the more highly regarded recruit, Davis Webb. Tonight you've seen why. Mayfield's been solid. Tipped, incomplete. Sanders got 2 hands on it.
Dangerous throw right there, just a hair late. Trying to go to Jordan Davis outside. But you talk about freshman quarterbacks. We are seeing so many more guys. It used to be unheard of for a freshman to come in and have success. In the last decade, last 5 years, it's really a tribute to guys, the 7-on-7 camps. They're playing football year-round. They're playing these offenses that they're running in high school, so they're ready to go.
Fumble. Mayfield picks it back up at the 35, but he'll be sacked by Zach Ward after another fumble. Bo Barnes knocked it free. Mayfield got on top. Wood finishes it off.
Again, last series, Baker Mayfield fumbled a ball too. That ball is just loose. You got to make sure you secure that football when you're scrambling around, especially that a defense starts recognizing that. They'll start swatting at it, trying to do their best to knock it out of your hands.
3rd and long. Mayfield steps away from the pressure. And just dances out of bounds at the 41. Tech will be forced to punt.
Number 26, Ryan Ertzladen.
2 minutes left in the 3rd. It'll be post and back again for SMU. Fielded at the 10. Dropped at the 7. We check again with Chris Carter.
Carter, I know Danny Cannell loves himself some tennis. Here's a live look in at the U.S. Open over on ESPN2. Leighton Hewitt just won a 4-set tiebreaker to force it into a 5th set. And coming up later on this evening, Serena Williams as well. So that's happening right now over on the Deuce. Back to Dallas.
Williams as a reminder.
You were just telling me about Leighton Hewitt's backhand earlier
Of course
today.
I was. I'm a big fan of U.S. Open tennis for sure.
I love, especially the late night U.S. Open tennis. Sure enough, still to come tonight. Serena Williams, a little late night tennis from U.S. Open when we're done with football here in Dallas. SMU will have to come from behind to try and beat Texas Tech for the first time since 1986, the year before the NCAA death penalty for SMU football. Garrett Gilbert, 1st and 10. Pressure. Dumps it incomplete. Here's Allison Williams.
Well, guys, the Texas Tech defense and coaches fired up on the sidelines, but they want to make sure that they don't get into their defense too soon. They don't tip their hands, then Gilbert can identify it. They said if you're late, don't worry about it. Just go out there and hit your gaps.
One thing Texas Tech has been doing, the one thing they've had success with is the blitz. They've been getting after Garrett Gilbert, sacked him several times. See 5 sacks on the night. I would bring more of the same. When they have sat back and gone into coverage, Gilbert's gassed him with his legs.
Here they come again. 2nd and 10, complete to the 26. That's Holman who makes the grab for SMU.
What a snap by Holman. I mean, he didn't see that ball until late. Stuck his mitts up and just snatched it out of the air. I mean, he caught the back end of the football. What an incredible grab.
All that work on the jugs machine pays off, right?
June Jones said his receivers, his quarterbacks, they get a lot of work because they throw it a lot in practice. Quarterback's arms are tired.
Gilbert hit as he throws, complete. Across the 31, Derek Thompson. Make it 2nd down and about 5.
I think you're seeing Garrett Gilbert, kind of his knowledge of the system. You're seeing it as he's learning it as we go. And that one there, because I've seen him a couple times tonight, not sure to go with the football. That time, saw some pressure, knew exactly where he wanted to go with the football quick, and it's a positive play instead of a sack.
Screen, Johnson spinning for an SMU 1st down at the 36. 1st and 10. Clock stops temporarily with 22 seconds.
Jeremy Johnson brought down on the play by number 10 Pete Robertson and number 7 Will Smith. But not before he picks up an SMU Mustang 1st down.
Gilbert and SMU will try to squeeze in a play before the end of the 3rd. Didn't get it off. So we head to the 4th quarter in a 4-point game between the Red Raiders and the Mustangs to begin 2013. Sellout crowd here at Gerald J. Ford Stadium on the campus of SMU. We head to the 4th, 20-16. Texas Tech leads SMU football with Garrett Gilbert from the shotgun on 1st and 10. Treylon Shedd, the starting running back, exited the game for SMU. So Prescott line there in the backfield, now motions out. The handoff goes quickly to Lagasse, who is dropped just as quickly. Demetrius Alston. So what do you expect from the offenses here in the 4th?
Well, I think the execution has been better in this 2nd half. I mean, I didn't expect all these offensive minds, you know, some old, some new in the game tonight for them to, you know, go unchecked. They've made some adjustments. They found some weaknesses in the defense. So I think that should continue.
Pressure coming. Gilbert throws complete right at the sticks. That's Jeremy Johnson, the senior from John Tyler High School, who holds it in. Order on the stop.
Something else to watch out for, too, is remember the heat, the humidity. It started the game. It was 100, 110 on the field. This could be one of those endurance games. It's going to be one where it's going to be a gut check, especially for the defensive guys.
And both teams going up-tempo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Over the middle, dragging receiver, Johnson again into Texas Tech territory, back to Allison Williams.
Today, the fatigue, dehydration, certainly an issue. SMU was proactive, though. June Jones told me he actually requires all of his big guys, all the guys on both lines, to take an IV before the game and at the half to help them with any sort of dehydration or cramping issues.
Gilbert bouncing on 2nd and 4. It's incomplete. Thompson laid out. Trey Porter gets the hit.
See so many of these crossing routes, and this is really Hal Mumme, the new offensive coordinator, who's contributing to June Jones' run and shoot. He's given his air raid principles, but some of these, what they like to stretch the field horizontally to get vertical. Some of these crossing routes, you do feel one thing, Carter, is that one of these they're going to catch and run with a long way.
3rd and 4. Gilbert check down, Prescott line, rumbling to the 40. There is a flag down.
Gilbert's pass complete to number 29, Zach Ryan. The pickup of 9 yards, but there is a penalty flag on the play.
Holding. Offense number 72. 10-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Put the big left tackle out in the island by himself. A little slip screen. Let him get out in front. He's grabbing a little bit too much jersey in number 7, Will Smith. And really, if you're a big guy, you know, big left tackle, just throw your body at him, get him down. You know, don't even mess with his upper half with the jersey.
As soon as we are done here from Dallas, SportsCenter now on ESPN News. SportsCenter is next on ESPN, including Phil and Tiger highlights, your U.S. Open update, your college football update. Looking ahead to a full weekend, including Georgia-Clemson tomorrow night from Clemson, South Carolina. Trey Porter walking off the field prior to 3rd down and long for Gilbert and the Mustangs. Hit as he throws, incomplete. Micah Alway gets right in the face of Garrett Gilbert.
This is one where I kind of watch Garrett Gilbert and I see some indecision. You know, talk about becoming comfortable in this, in the system. Bottom of your screen, watch number 1 come across the field. He's wide open. Garrett, just give it to him. He turns it up. He can get that 1st down for you, turn that into a much bigger play. I know you want to throw the ball downfield 3rd and long, but sometimes the way it's designed, Hal Mumme's over there talking to him, it's by design. You can throw it underneath to get the 1st down.
Sadell Foster, fair catch at the 21. Foster exited the game earlier with a leg injury. Good to see him back in for the Red Raiders. Texas Tech football, 4-point lead at SMU. For 30 yards. Louisville wins it in overtime. Friday night through the years has given us some wild moments. And here on Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week, a sellout crowd at Gerald J. Ford Stadium. We got 13 minutes to go. It's a 4-point lead for Texas Tech, but 2 offenses capable. They have not been firing on all cylinders all night, but 2 offenses capable of fireworks in the final 13. Baker Mayfield completes on 1st down to Eric Ward.
And they're close. They're just missing a couple things here and there. Some throws are just off, some drop balls, both teams. And that's large part because it's the 1st game of the season.
Mayfield hits it outside. It's Ward again, who was 1 missed tackle away from breaking that one. Greenbauer drags him down.
They've thrown so many short, underneath, quick-hitting screen passes. That time you saw Baker Mayfield pump to the outside to number 11, which allowed Eric Ward to sneak up the outside. Another great throw from Baker Mayfield.
Back to Ward again. 3 straight completions to the senior from Wichita Falls Rider High School, Eric Ward. And the Red Raiders are rolling.
Again, pushing the tempo.
Right back to Ward. 4 straight completions to Eric Ward, and he's taking the Red Raiders inside the 30.
Well, they're trying to force the issue here, and Eric Ward is having a ton of success. And I love the fact that Cliff Kingsbury's like, you know what? You guys aren't stopping it. I'm going to keep going to it.
Roll out from Mayfield. Throws it away.
Mayfield's pass incomplete, intended for number 4.
Eric Ward, 4 straight catches. He is officially a Texas Tech alumni, graduated with a degree in human development, family studies, now studying for a master's degree. Wife Kenzie, son Jayrick, the 5th-year senior now in grad school, Eric Ward, who's caught 4 passes on this drive. He's out on 3rd down. Complete. Marquez on the slant. Looks like he has the first down.
Now, to me, that shows a tremendous amount of trust in Baker Mayfield. And I like the fact that they stayed in there what they usually do. 3rd and short. They didn't try to, go to some short yardage unit. You know what? They said the pass works for us. Let's go with the pass on short yardage. Sure enough, short pass, got the first down.
Fling it again to the outside. This time it's Sean Corker who takes it inside the 20.
In SMU, a player down here, it's going to stop the clock.
To number 9, Sean Corker.
And it'll allow SMU to catch their breath. And I think a large part why they're getting some of these short, quick passes is you're seeing SMU go three-man rush, dropping 8 into coverage, but they're pretty soft. They just don't want to get beat, and they're just taking those easy passes.
Mayfield and the Red Raiders up by 4. Instructions here at SMU. And with that, we tell you it's 2nd down. 2nd and 1 here for the Texas Tech Red Raiders in the red zone. Mayfield flings incomplete. Intended for Ward again, just the 2nd incompletion on the drive by Mayfield.
And this is all part of the chess match, because you've seen Cliff Kingsbury and Baker Mayfield, the offense, they've been taking those short passes because they've been there. That forced SMU to come up and press coverage to take those away, so that's when they took their shot over the top.
3rd and 1, handoff, Williams moves the chains. 1st and 10 from the 16 now for Texas Tech.
In the first half, remember the struggles that both teams had in the red zone.
That's Bo Carpenter, the junior right guard for Texas Tech, who was down. And the Texas Tech offensive line is pretty thin. Tony Morales, who is expected to start on the offensive line with his twin brother Alfredo. Tony is injured indefinitely. And this is Bo Carpenter, the right guard. Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week features Alabama and Virginia Tech tomorrow, 5:30 Eastern time. Logan Thomas has a new offensive coordinator. Scott Loeffler with Virginia Tech. Can Logan Thomas bounce back and threaten Alabama tomorrow?
I think it's going to be a tough task, to put it lightly. I mean, Alabama looks like, they're going for 3 in a row. Nick Saban, an entire offseason to prep for this game. But Logan Thomas is a big physical quarterback. But I'm just very concerned about Virginia Tech. They've had so many injuries in this fall camp. What he's going to have to work with around him.
1st and 10 for Mayfield. Fling into the end zone again. Knocked away. Flag down. Parks knocks it away from Eric Ward, but there is a flag.
Defended by number 1, Chris Parks. There is a penalty flag on the play.
Pass interference. Defense number 1. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic 1st down.
Chris Parks in coverage, number 1. You saw him stride for stride. To me, it looked pretty good cover. Now you see some of the hand inside the jersey right there. He's an offensive guy. I love the call.
but regardless, 1st and goal here for the Red Raiders. Oh. Bungled handoff in the backfield, and Williams is ridden out all the way back at the 15.
That might have been the hardest hit we've seen all night, was by his own guy. Both backs in the backfield. Watch him crisscross directions. DeAndre Washington and right into his back in the backfield. Kenny Williams, but
that's a pick play in the backfield, right? You're not supposed to have pick plays.
Hey, it's the first game of the season. That's like the type of stuff happens.
So 2nd and goal now, all the way back at the 16 after that not top 10 moment between Washington and Williams. Mayfield goes scrambling into the end zone. Touchdown, Texas Tech. Mayfield's guns are up. 2 passing touchdowns and now a rushing TD for the walk-on true freshman.
Baker Mayfield, one of the things that Cliff Kingsbury said he brought to the table was the ability to make these types of plays with his legs.
Boston's PAT is good, and Texas Tech has an 11-point lead now on SMU. Looks like Cliff Kingsbury made the right choice sending Baker Mayfield out there tonight for the Red Raiders.
The walk-on true freshman has impressed through the air tonight. And then how about with his legs? The move right there to cut it up inside.
Guns up. The end zone with some help from Eric Ward, but maybe too much help from Eric Ward.
Right, Eric Ward here. You see him right bottom of your screen. Man-to-man on number 1, Chris Parks. Gets some jersey, gets called for the hold. Touchdown, gets called back. How about the last run? Let's watch him again. Eric Ward. Some little redemption maybe. Again, same matchup against Chris Parks again. Might have got a little bit of jersey, but it wasn't called.
It's a lesson learned, right? Get less jersey and we give you credit for a good block.
Right, it doesn't look as bad.
Your guy gets a touchdown, right? It's a learning curve. So tall task here for SMU, down by 11, 10:05 to go. Touchback. We check in with Chris Carter.
Carter, Arizona, Northern Arizona. Now, Daniel Jenkins is getting the start for Arizona because Kadeem Carey was benched by Coach Rodriguez for his offseason transgressions, and Jenkins takes this one to the house. 91 yards. It's 14-0 right now. Arizona on top of Northern Arizona at the half. And here's a photo of A.J. McCarron, Alabama's starting quarterback, in a walking boot. Our Mark Schlabach is reporting he's got an ingrown toenail, and he'll be fine to play in this Bama-Virginia Tech game coming up on Saturday. That photo, by the way, courtesy of Cole Cubic. Thank you very much, sir.
Now, the word is A.J. McCarron, even with the boot because the ingrown toenail, that all systems are go for the championship quarterback for the Alabama Crimson Tide. 11-point lead here for Texas Tech on SMU. 10:05 to go. Gilbert throwing on first down, complete. That's Jeremy Johnson.
I'd like to see SMU match Texas Tech from an energy level. I mean, Texas Tech just this second half just has seemed to have some more passion, more urgency, more excitement about them. SMU just hasn't looked like they've matched that. And I'd like to see that from them, or they're going to get caught losing this game worse than they are now.
Quick hitter complete. That's Darius Joseph. First down SMU across the 35. There's a bullet on the stop for Bruce Jones.
Pick up of 9 yards. First down, SMU.
Empty backfield again for Gilbert. Off the hands of Jeremy Johnson. Another drop.
Another one for Jeremy Johnson. He's got to get in the jugs machine this week at practice, get some extra balls. And, you know, we talked to the coaches for SMU about Garrett Gilbert last year, and they said last year he was plagued by a lot of drops. Really one of the reasons they thought his completion percentage would have been a lot higher. And again, you're seeing it being an issue tonight.
Gilbert was 53% completion percentage last year. They wanted to be 65 or better this year. Flag down before the snap.
Offside. Defense number 54, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, still secondary.
Can't do that, Dartwan. Second and 5 now. Complete, but a nice tackle on the outside by Bruce Jones on Derek Thompson.
Bruce Jones, nice job recognizing that, breaking on the football, outstanding break, and a good open field tackle. That was textbook right there from the defensive back.
Jones, a senior who transferred in from Riverside Community College in California. Tackle for a loss of 1 makes it 3rd and 6. Gilbert gets rid of it as he is going down. Incomplete. No grounding. 4th down coming for SMU. Down by 11 with 8:20 and change left in the 4th.
Still plenty of time left in this game. That's what SMU to me looks defeated already. It's just from body language, from energy level. I don't see a fire.
Loftus punts. Sadell Foster grabs it inside the 10. Foster slipping away from tacklers, and Foster finally dragged down around the 24-yard line. Red Raider football, an 11-point game. There is a flag down on the field.
Legal formation, kicking team, not enough men on the line of scrimmage. The 5-yard penalty will be enforced from the dead ball spot. 1st down.
If the Mustangs are going to come back from an 11-point deficit, they need a stop against the Red Raiders, and they need it now. It's been since 1986 that SMU has defeated Texas Tech when they were in the Southwest Conference. That was the year before SMU's program went away for 2 years, the so-called death penalty from the NCAA. 1 year, and then self-imposed ban the 2nd year. And the Red Raiders trying to continue their winning streak against SMU with an 11-point lead, just over 8 minutes to go. Hand off on 1st down to the sophomore DeAndre Washington. And now we'll see what Texas Tech does tempo-wise with an 11-point lead in the 4th quarter. Mayfield takes a shot downfield. Ward's got it. Stepping out of bounds in SMU territory.
I don't think they changed at all. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury has said we're going to be aggressive. We're going to go out there. We're going to take it to other teams. And that's their philosophy. They're going to stay aggressive, keep calling balls down the field. And they're just keep running the no huddle.
Ward now 128 receiving yards, and he adds more inside the 10. Shoved out, 1st and goal Texas Tech, as Eric Ward has taken over the 4th quarter with Baker Mayfield.
These outside plays are made. Watch number 11 right in front of him. His fellow wide receiver, Jakeem Grant, opened that up for Eric Ward to make that huge gain. And that's what Cliff Kingsbury told us. He said, my guys will fight even when they don't have the ball, the other guys around him.
Ward steps out, actually stepped out at the 16. So gain of 20 on that one after a gain of 30 before it. Ward now 148 receiving yards and give him 2 more for an even 150 on the night. He and Michael Crabtree, the only Texas Tech receivers with back-to-back 11 touchdown seasons, and now Ward is a senior. Mayfield completes. That's Williams out of the backfield inside the 10. It'll be 3rd down.
Number 34, Kenny Williams. Tackle for SMU by number 23.
Sanders makes the stop. 3rd down. And about 3 here for Texas Tech. Mayfield finds his check down complete to Washington. 1st and goal, Red Raiders.
DeAndre Washington completely wide open, forgotten about the defense, busted coverage. Baker, if he could have kept him up on his feet, he would have walked in for a touchdown. Instead, he stumbled, couldn't get back up, and he was down.
First and goal, Texas Tech. They stay in the hurry up, even with a double-digit lead in the 4th. Touchdown! Jakeem Grant hauls it in. The 3rd touchdown pass of the night for the freshman walk-on Baker Mayfield. And the Red Raiders are rolling in the 2nd half.
How about the composure shown from the walk-on true freshman Baker Mayfield throughout the night? And really, the thing that from his first snap till now, he's looked the same. He came in, looked comfortable, running the offense, making good decisions, has gotten better at executing it, but from just composure standpoint, confidence, really impressive tonight.
Those look like numbers for a Texas Tech quarterback. 40 of 56, 362 yards, 3 touchdowns. The air raid is back.
Beautiful read, great anticipation, throwing the corner over the top. Just a little smash concept. Great recognition. And Cliff Kingsbury was fired up after that one. I think he's fired up not only because he knows that put the dagger in this game, but I think he knows what he has on his hands right now, and that's a quarterback that could be the quarterback of the future. I mean, I know Michael Brewer is supposed to come back from a back injury, but if you put up numbers like this, look what he did with a freshman last year and Johnny Manziel. Cliff Kingsbury did at Texas A&M. This could be the guy. He's been special. I think maybe he'll get a scholarship before long, don't you?
I think it will probably be the first available opportunity. Mr. Mayfield will be offered a scholarship. Well, the numbers excellent, especially in the 2nd half. I talked to Mike Leach earlier this week about Cliff Kingsbury. Mike Leach said, yeah, of course, he's got all that GQ stuff going on, and our coach is hotter than your coach. Well, what Mike Leach says is he is an incredibly tough person. Mike Leach talked about a first game when they played Texas A&M, and Cliff Kingsbury took a beating and still threw for 350 plus. And that's the kind of toughness that sometimes gets overlooked because he's a 34-year-old, let's just say it, good-looking head coach on the Texas Tech sideline.
Baker Mayfield showing a lot of maturity tonight in a lot of ways. How about after his touchdown, he comes over, checks on his injured offensive lineman, making sure guys are okay. That's 72, Bo Carpenter with his pads off over there, who got injured on that drive. And you can be a leader. You have to be a leader at the quarterback position. It doesn't matter if you're the youngest guy on the team or you've only been there. By default, you talk in the huddle, you lead the team down the field, you lead guys off the field. You have to be a leader, and it sure looks like Baker Mayfield is perfect for that role.
And number 6, Mayfield, goes 6 for 6. Touchdown on that drive. SportsCenter is coming up next on ESPN. It's on ESPN News right now. An update on A.J. McCarron. Gilbert tipped incomplete. Sports Center coming up next on ESPN.
Second down and 10.
Serena Williams about to play in the U.S. Open on ESPN 2. We're now over 100 combined passes in the game. So
I sent out a prediction on Twitter. And it came true. It was the 100 passes combined between both teams, pass attempts.
I like how you brought it up now, after we got to the 100.
You can check my Twitter feed. It's there.
All right.
I only predict things that are going to come true.
Okay, good. Good. Gilbert. Incomplete. Fourth down coming here for SMU. 5:15 to go. Texas Tech big lead. Gilbert in the offense appears to be staying on the field. There's 106 passes total now in the game, Danny.
Both teams heavily skewed toward the pass game.
Fourth down for SMU. Complete. First down. Jeremy Johnson moves the chains. J.J. Gaines there on the stop.
And now if you're SMU, you know, if you're June Jones, Hal Mumme, you're probably not going to come back, but you need to get some work for your offense. I mean, they've struggled tonight at times. They've had some glimpses where they've shown some good things and been able to move the football.
That's complete. Darius Joseph. SMU has a home game against Montana State next week, and then on the 21st, so after an off week, at Texas A&M. That will be following the Texas A&M Alabama game. SMU going to College Station to take on those Fighting Aggies at Texas A&M. That's incomplete. Third down again.
The Texas A&M Alabama game has already, that country, that's the one people want to see. The rematch, Johnny Manziel, see if he can do it again.
It's been on the it's been on loop in the Alabama weight room throughout the offseason as well. So circled by all of the Crimson Tide. Fourth down coming again for SMU.
Gilbert's pass complete to number 15, Jeremy Johnson. He's brought down after a gain of 3. Fourth down.
Fourth down here for SMU. Gilbert hit as he throws, incomplete. Tech football, less than 4 minutes to go. The Red Raiders are closing in on an opening win in 2013 in Cliff Kingsbury's head coaching debut. And in continuing to talk about Texas A&M and Alabama, Cliff Kingsbury, quarterback coach, offensive coordinator last year under Kevin Sumlin at Texas A&M, asked Coach Kingsbury about Johnny Manziel on the field and what he wanted to see in year 2. I think the same thing that Jake Spavital, now the quarterback coach at A&M, wants to see. Pocket presence, with everything aside, on the field, pocket presence improvement from Johnny Manziel in year 2.
Well, that's going to be the biggest difference. That's what every team is going to adjust to Johnny Manziel. It's going to be, all right, we know what he can do with his legs when he's outside of the pocket. Let's make him beat us from the pocket. So we'll see if it happens. That's going to be the adjustment people make.
You go 2 years ago at the University of Houston. It was Case Keenum in 2011, Manziel last year. So 2 excellent quarterback seasons for the last 2 quarterbacks that have worked under Cliff Kingsbury. And worth saying again, this is just his 5th season as a coach.
It's truly remarkable how fast he's gotten to this position, and everywhere he's been, his offenses have been lethal.
Baker Mayfield goes scrambling, flag down. Right around the 20. Mayfield slides, but again, flags down.
Mayfield on the quarterback draw gains 13 yards.
10-yard penalty. Still second down.
Only 2 races left until the chase for the cup. Jimmy Johnson looks to maintain his lead on the field as the competition heats up at Atlanta Motor Speedway. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta, Sunday at 7 on ESPN, live on Watch ESPN. Penalty stepped off, makes it 2nd and long here for Baker Mayfield and the Red Raiders. Mayfield complete. Boy, that's a great throw to Jordan Davis to move the chains on 2nd and long.
Through his first collegiate touchdown pass, very similar, the exact same route, post over the middle of the field.
First down to Texas Tech.
Hand off Kenny Williams, nothing there.
Texas Tech inside handoff, number 34, Kenny Williams. Very right on the tackle for the Mustangs.
This is 2nd down. Screen complete. Davis, a true freshman, shakes his way inside the 20, sheds a defender and all the way into the end zone for Reginald Davis. The high school track star is into the end zone for his first touchdown as a Red Raider. The 4th touchdown pass of the night for Baker Mayfield.
There is a youth movement at Texas Tech, and it's not only the coaches, but Cliff Kingsbury, 34 years old, brought in a lot of young guys, but also on the field. A bunch of young players making some impact plays for Texas Tech. Red Raider Nation's got to be excited about what the future holds for this team.
PAT is good. 41-16 Texas Tech on SMU. Mayfield 414 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks.
We've seen so many of these little quick-hitting screen passes you have to tackle. One missed tackle there, another one there, then he kind of just lets his speed and athleticism. 3 missed tackles though for SMU. Make it 4.
So the Red Raiders are rolling to 1-0 to begin 2013. They're 2 weeks away from their Big 12 debut against TCU. 2013, that is, their Big 12 debut. Baker Mayfield, as his high school coach, Hank Carter said, I think he's going to prove some people wrong, as in the people who did not offer Baker Mayfield a scholarship to some of the schools he wanted to go to. And he has done his part tonight. Saturday, full slate of games, including Rice, Texas A&M, 1 Eastern on ESPN. The second half, we will see the Heisman Trophy Award winner, Johnny Manziel. One other thought there on Johnny Manziel and Cliff Kingsbury. In no uncertain terms, Coach Kingsbury said he did not think that, in his words, the vilification of Johnny Manziel was fair. That was what Cliff Kingsbury told us earlier this week.
Well, I mean, he's got a great relationship for Johnny Manziel. Of course, he's going to look out, for his former quarterback. But in the world we live in, I mean, if you put yourself out there the way Johnny Manziel has, you open yourself up to a whole lot of scrutiny, whether it's making the decision to travel around the country to, go to NBA games. I don't have a problem with it, but when you do those types of things, you open yourself up to scrutiny. When you reply to trolls on Twitter, when you do those types of things, when you speak your mind at media day, when you're almost honest to a fault, you open yourself up to that. Is it fair that a 20-year-old has to go under that? Probably not, but that's just the world we live in today.
And how much of that is a 20-year-old celebrity in the 21st century with social media and access and sharing ad nauseum, which you get from just about every 20-year-old? Pass is caught by Joseph.
But I think that's specifically why a lot of head football coaches don't let their players use social media. They don't let them tweet, especially during football. They want them to be focused. The coaches hate distraction. And so that's what's been so, I'm sure Kevin Sumlin has been waiting, saying, man, just get me to the season. Let me get my guys on the field, especially Manziel, where we can kind of tighten down our focus, because 18 to 22-year-olds, they're putting stuff out there. They could, you know, most of the time they're going to tweet the wrong thing. It's just, you know, it turns into damage control.
Now that's last year's Heisman Trophy winner playing tomorrow against Rice, 1 Eastern on ESPN. We talked about Georgia Clemson and how that could play into the 2013 Heisman race. And that being said, last couple of years, the Heisman Trophy winner has kind of come out of nowhere. Jeremy Johnson inside the 35. I mean, Robert Griffin III, who knew he was a great player, but he exploded to win Heisman. So
we've all got our lists, our top 5. It'll probably be somebody that we haven't seen at all. But in the Georgia-Clemson game, I think there are a couple. I think there are 4 guys that have a chance to be on the Heisman Trophy final, you know, in New York, sitting there. 2 quarterbacks that have had outstanding careers, could put up big numbers. Aaron Murray, Taj Boyd for Clemson. And then you've got to look at Todd Gurley, running back for Georgia, is a stud. And then you've got Sammy Watkins, who has kind of been, you know, last year, he was kind of under the radar with DeAndre Hopkins, their other wide receiver there. But remember, his freshman year was off the charts good. They were saying if he could have come out, he would have been a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. So if he gets back on speed, you know, up to pace, he could be a guy that could come as a dark horse in the Heisman race.
2nd and 10 here for Gilbert at SMU. Last gasp for the Mustangs tonight. Caught inside the 10. Nice catch by Darius Joseph. It will be 1st and goal, SMU. I'm going to ask you about Aaron Murray in a moment, but we have 1st and goal for the Mustangs here. SportsCenter coming up next. College game day from Clemson, 9 a.m. Eastern on ESPN tomorrow. Getting you set for a full day. Already national championship implications and Heisman implications on the opening weekend of college football. That's Prescott Line into the end zone. Touchdown for Prescott Line, a redshirt freshman from Oxford, Michigan, younger brother of Zach Line, who threatened many of Eric Dickerson's rushing records at SMU. Now with the Minnesota Vikings, Prescott Line into the end zone for the first time as a Mustang. (41-23) now. Texas Tech on SMU. Carter Blackburn, Danny Cannell, Allison Williams, our Friday night crew here, with Texas Tech rolling towards a 1-0 start in 2013. So turning our attention more to Saturday, and Georgia Clemson in particular from Clemson, South Carolina, another SEC-ACC matchup. Talk about all the different Heisman Trophy candidates and potential top 5 NFL picks, but for college and for the national championship implications, how important is it that Aaron Murray plays well in the big game against Clemson? It's big. I mean, you look at his record against top 25, against ranked teams, that's where he hasn't had the most success. So for him to kind of get that label off of him where he can't play big in big games, I don't think it's deserved, because he's playing an incredibly tough schedule. And you saw he was one batted pass last year from being the SEC champion. I mean, if they could have knocked off Alabama, they had so close. He was right there. But unfortunately, that's what you do. You play the position, you play quarterback. You've had a career like he has. People want to see him take that next step. So for him, it's a huge game, huge magnitude for him. 3 SEC-ACC matchups. We saw one last night. That was South Carolina with a solid win over North Carolina. Then you've got Georgia, Clemson, Virginia Tech, Alabama. What if the 3 SEC teams in dominant fashion beat the 3 ACC teams, including a top 10 Clemson team? What if?
I don't think anybody would be surprised. I mean, the ACC has been the 4th or 5th best conference.
Onside kick from SMU. got.
The SMU onside kick is recovered.
We don't have a definitive signal as to whose football it is, but I believe it's Texas Tech football. But getting back to the ACC-SEC discussion.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would be surprised. I mean, Clemson, if Georgia beats them handily, I don't think anybody's shocked. I think Clemson has a great chance to win that game. I picked Clemson. I think they will win that game. But here's a look at the onside kick from SMU.
It is SMU ball. Yep, Hover recovers it. Good onside kick execution from SMU.
SMU getting the chance to salvage a little bit. What's been a rough night, trying to at least put a few extra points on the board.
Gilbert looking long. Incomplete, intended for Johnson.
Well, I'm a little surprised that Texas Tech let a SMU receiver get behind their defense. I mean, good coverage from the defensive back, but there was no safety help behind there. Jeremy Johnson able to blow the lid off that defense.
So it's going to be Texas Tech going to 1-0. Stephen F. Austin at home in Lubbock next week for the Red Raiders. Then TCU on the 12th. Big 12 opener in 2013 for the Red Raiders. So we talked about the excitement around Texas Tech football with Cliff Kingsbury, and now that the Red Raiders have finally seen Baker Mayfield, you know, again, this is a guy who didn't play in the spring. He wasn't around in the spring. Almost all the practices were closed in the fall. So this is really the Red Raider fans' first look at Baker Mayfield. I'd imagine they've got to be happy.
I would guess so.
414, 4 touchdowns from the walk-on true freshman. His fellow Lake Travis High School Cavalier, Garrett Gilbert, goes rolling inside the 40. Conversely for SMU, what's the level of concern if you're a Mustang fan and you lose 41-23 right now to Texas Tech?
I mean, they've done some good things. I mean, Garrett Gilbert's moved the ball. They've had some issues in the red zone, which of course plagued them last year too. So I think that's something they're going to try to address. But I think defensively too, we saw some poor tackling, especially in the second half.
At the Texas Tech 33-yard line after a 6-yard gain.
Friday night belongs to Cliff Kingsbury and the Texas Tech Red Raiders, which means we are headed towards Saturday and a full day of college football, but opening weekend all the way through Monday college football games. Action-packed Thursday night. Ole Miss and Vandy had an interesting finish. How about Derek Carr, Fresno State, no team.
Yeah. Overtime win against Rutgers. 52 of 73.
We're going to see
throwing the ball all over the yard.
We're going to see Derek Carr and Fresno State in a couple of weeks against Boise State, which is a big Friday night game, potential BCS buster game in the final year of the BCS between Fresno State and Boise State. But on this Friday night, Cliff Kingsbury, first game as head coach for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. It's going to be a win as the clock ticks towards zeros, 41-23. Said he told his guys before the game, just go have fun. More fun when you win.
Yes, it always is.
Oh, and here comes the dump. That actually probably feels very good about right now. SportsCenter coming up next after the game preview of Saturday's big games. And Miami with a dominant performance tonight. SportsCenter is coming up next as soon as we're done here in Dallas between Texas Tech and SMU. A timeout called by SMU with 14 seconds to go. Ward with a pretty solid night. 150 receiving yards, 13 catches. A senior from Wichita Falls Rider High School. Gilbert, pass caught by Derek Thompson. SMU's going to the final horn.
It's throws like that see, you see Garrett Gilbert make. You see some of these plays throughout the game for SMU. There are some bright spots for them to build on.
Another timeout for SMU. Really playing it to the final horn. SportsCenter coming up next here on ESPN.
9 hours, though. College game day.
That's right. Time to get ready. 9 a.m. Eastern. That's an early wake-up call for Chris Fowler and the rest of the game day crew there in Clemson, South Carolina.
Let's see Coach Corso. Let's see who. I got to see the pick.
What, is it going to be a Tiger head or a Georgia Bulldog? We shall find out after.
I wish I had some insider info and knew who he was picking.
After 4 hours now of game day coming your way beginning at 9 a.m. Eastern time, getting you set for Georgia Clemson tomorrow night from Clemson, South Carolina. Part of an action-packed Saturday night. Gilbert to the end zone, and that is going to do it. For Danny Cannell, Allison Williams, I'm Carter Blackburn. A 41-23 win for Texas Tech over SMU. Cliff Kingsbury wins his debut as Red Raider head coach tonight in Dallas. SportsCenter begins right now.